Okay.
It's so much better to play an instrument I don't know how to play. It's great.
All right, gang's all here. We ready to play some Dungeons & Dragons?
Yeah.
Yes! Rock on. Defeat the Huns. Let's get down to business.
To defeat
the Huns.
Okay, here we go.
Did they send me lizard people when I asked for sons?
Here we go. Who's ready for Dungeons & Dragons?
Yay!
Yay, Dungeons & Dragons! I'm your Dungeon Master, Tom.
Hello, Dungeon Master Tom.
It sounds like a mean title, but my job is just to facilitate the game and be a referee. And I'm actually gonna adjust this so we can see Sarah better. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, gang.
Where are you playing from today?
Well, heck, I'm playing from sunny South Korea.
You're the closest person we could be playing with who doesn't live on this continent, probably. You see us? There we go. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. So we're gonna play a game called Dungeons & Dragons. This is the 5th edition of Dungeons & Dragons. Have you played 5th edition? Ish?
When I say yes, that was I think I've played 2nd edition and 5th edition, but I think mostly 5th edition.
Back when I moved out to the Bay Area, 5th edition was entitled D&D Next, which I guess was the cool kids. You know,
Yeah, that caught on.
it's the next D&D. You know, it's like the new iPad. But now it's just called 5th edition, which makes sense. At least it's not called like 4th and a half or something stupid.
Yeah, it would be dumb.
And so my job is to just describe the world, and your job is to live in it. And so we'll try and do that for a little while and see how it
Tom's
goes.
world, we just live in it.
It's your world. I just describe it. And so
The perceiver creates the perceived.
exactly.
Yes.
Who was I? I had an extended conversation with somebody at brunch this morning. You know, I'm from the Bay Area because I have conversations with people at brunch about like people who they have like this meta-theatrical thing where they imagine other people to have dialogues and discourses about and with. And then those people at some point discover that they're actually figments of another person's imagination and they disappear. But anyways, that's not going to happen because you're all real. But today you're playing somebody that you don't normally play in real life. I would love to hear from you all, starting with Sarah, a little bit about the characters that you'll be playing today.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now. Shit.
Right
So,
now.
okay. I'm Hag Molten Scream. I'm a human. Real exciting. And I'm a fucking folk hero. And they use a rapier. And, what else about me? I'm scrolling.
I would love to know what your armor class is and what your passive perception is. Is that a thing in 5th edition? I think so.
So I'm on the character chart thing. So what was it? Armor
class.
Armor class. Ugh, God. Making a fool of myself. I don't know, I guess light armor?
So there should be a number on your character
Yeah.
sheet somewhere that describes how hard it is for an enemy to hit you.
There should be, and yet.
Oh, did you? Well,
Pass
if
to
you
someone.
did you
Pass to
download?
someone else while I control F this.
All right. Let's instead pass the microphone, the virtual microphone. Well, we have a real microphone. I guess we could pass it around to Miel. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your character today?
I'm Seiralea. Seiralea.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Seiriliaia.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Cyrillia? Cyrillia?
Cyrillia is what I'm going with.
Okay. Cyrillia.
And Cyrillia is a lizard folk. She was until recently a pirate. I haven't quite made up a backstory as to what happened, but I can do that in a second. She is a bard, and she plays the bagpipes. And she's 40 years old, so she's getting close to old for... She's, because lizards only live to be 60, so she's, like, past middle age. And she's very loyal. She really believes in friendships and loyalty and respect.
Friendship
and her
loyalty.
armor class is 12.
Oh, where did you get that?
Well, when I downloaded it,
gosh.
Okay, that's brilliant.
It's interesting.
Sarah, have you unfucked your life yet?
Oh God, I'm looking for it. Like, is it under a tab? Where the hell?
It should be like right at the top. It's like one of the main stats of your character.
Oh my God, it's literally right at the top. Okay, it's 10.
10. Got it.
I'm a class of 10.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. Brilliant.
My passive perception is 14.
Okay. What's your passive perception, Hag?
Passive perception is 12.
Great. How about Jacob? Tell me some things.
What's up? I am Hansi, and I am a water genasi, so I can breathe underwater, and I think my people live underwater, which is actually quite interesting and how I became a bard. If I grew up underwater, and I'll tell you all about that story later because it involved a lot of dedication. Like I heard the sailors from the docks, like the music coming in, and my parents really wanted me to be a hunter like the rest of my tribe, but I wanted to go and live on land and become a bard, and so I left.
Do you want to be where the people are?
I do want to be where the people are. I wanted to see the world, and I wanted to play. I wanted to have my gift appreciated by the world.
Did you want to see them dancing?
I did.
Good.
I did, and so so I came to. I started going up on land and stealing instruments and learning how to play them, and over time I found a band of other bards, and we started playing together, and we have a moderately successful career, always skipping from town to town and keeping people entertained in exchange for our food. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Other than that, I'm good with animals. And I'm a chaotic neutral. Okay. I think the world needs more fun, and that's my primary in new ideas, and that's my primary organizing sort of principle. I had something else here that I lost, but where's my backstory stuff? I kind of lost that, but. Yeah, I'm a little bit chaotic.
Okay.
And my armor class is 12, and my passive perception is also 12.
Brilliant. Great. So Hag is a bard. Cyrillia is a bard. Am I saying that right? Cyrillia?
Cyrillia.
Cyrillia. Okay. And Hansi's also a bard. 3 bards. Amazing. It's the best class in Dungeons & Dragons, if you didn't know that. Fun fact. And you're in a band together. And what's the name of that band?
Nickel Bard.
No.
Look at this photograph.
Well, we got to come up with a band name. Because you are going to be known throughout the Lost Kingdom of Arkenfall for your musical prowess. And if you want to be signed on to record labels in far-flung kingdoms like Neverwinter or Icewind Dale, you need...
Those both sound like really cold places.
Or Chult, or the Sword Coast.
Are any of those places where a reptile person can live outside of a house?
Chult is full of lizard people.
Oh,
Chult
great.
is jam-packed. You can't throw a rock without hitting some freaking lizard person in Chult. So...
Great.
Packed to the gills. Oh.
Oh!
Packed to the scales. They're lizard people, not fish people.
I'm leaving.
Don't leave. You're our only person that can play the thing you play.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're an appreciated and valued member of our band.
We need a band name. We need a band name.
Well, we had discussed the possibility of Earth, Wind, and Shire.
Oh, what about the four bards?
That's too boring.
No, but the fourth bard, you're like, where the fuck is he?
Okay. I guess I'd go for that. I'm mostly just against Nickelbard. That's my primary...
I feel like, four bards is good. I feel like there's a universe of really great bard puns. There's a universe of puns involving Dungeons and Dragons creatures, like bludgeons and flagons, there's feel free to workshop it, is all I'm saying. You don't have to, you could even, there's one when Weezer used to show up to shows. You know about this? Mm-hmm. Weezer would show up, but they would play really small venues, and they would make up a band name every time they showed up somewhere because they didn't want to headline as oh shit, Weezer's going into town. So they would just so you could just be something different every time you go somewhere.
We could be Bleeder.
That's good.
Bleeder.
You could be I don't know. Trying to come up with something better than Earth, Wind, and Shire.
What was the one we were just talking about? Let me find it again. Well, we're not really on a crusade, so I guess Motley Crusade.
Sarah, do you have any favorite band names?
I was trying to outdo myself with Ludi and the Blowfish, and I just exhausted all my creative energy.
Ludi and the Blowfish.
I mean, I like Ludi and the Blowfish.
I'm fine with that too.
Ludi and the Blowfish isn't bad. We can start with that. Maybe we'll change our name partway through,
Yeah, maybe we'll change our name immediately.
Battlefields, that's pretty
All right. I like Ludi and the Blowfish.
Well, you're not in the band, Tom.
Well, I control the universe, so...
No, our universe. You're just describing it.
No, you can be whatever you want.
Are you down with Ludi and the Blowfish?
I'm down with Ludi and the Blowfish.
You can always change it. You can even change it. You can even have an argument in character about how you don't like your band name.
Okay, that sounds great.
But...
I can't wait to have that argument.
For the purposes of this game, there is a land, a mystical land. And the name of this mystical land is Arkenfall. And if you have a pencil and you choose to take notes, that might be a good thing to write down.
Is this our setting?
This is the setting of the game. And a long, long time ago, this land was a great big kingdom. It was called the Kingdom of Arkenfall. And for various reasons that have mostly been lost to the mists of time, this kingdom met its decline. And nowadays, it's just a continent, basically. And on this continent are a number of small settlements. You may have heard of Weatherwall. It's a very sort of large port on the southern part of the continent. There's another large port called Rhinevale Harbor in the north. And there's a large mountain in the middle of the continent, which is a very ancient dwarven kingdom by the name of, it has various names, including a very unpronounceable one in the dwarven tongue, but in common it's called Glimmerdelve. And Glimmerdelve is kind of an interesting place because every 10 years, it's a very secretive kingdom. Basically, they open the gates, they open the front part of the kingdom up for trade. Because as you can imagine, it's kind of a snowy mountainous area. It doesn't have a lot of agricultural capacity, except what they can grow sort of hydroponically inside this dwarven kingdom, which is inside the mountain.
So is it, and that's still active?
It is still active.
It's not a ruin.
Is what now?
Not a ruin or anything.
No, it is a still populated. It's one of the few sort of large cities in the area of Arkenfall that has retained its former glory through the downfall of the rest of this empire. And so every 10 years, they kind of open up the whole kingdom for a large celebration, sort of a festival. And this festival is called Wintertide. And this festival, as I mentioned, it happens every 10 years, and this is at this time of year we're approaching wintertime. It's fall right now.
Is it Wintertide?
Wintertide is the festival,
Okay.
and so the festival's not on right now, but it's getting ready, and part of getting that festival up and going is that there's a lot of trade that happens in advance of the festival to get all of the goods from various other parts of the kingdom and lands beyond into Glimmerdelve, so that they can, bake a bunch of stuff and get their lagers and ales going and make these, fine fabrics and get the decorations ready to go, all that kind of stuff. And so while you are not currently allowed inside the kingdom of Glimmerdelve, there is a bustle of activity that is otherwise rare for this northern area. And there's a road, and it goes from Glimmerdelve in sort of the eastern, in the western half of the continent, and it winds its way through a very large forest and kind of follows the nooks and crannies and the valleys and the foothills out of this mountainous area. And it winds all the way out to Rhinevale Harbor, which is where most of these goods are coming from. And
Rhinevale or
Rime, R-I-M-E, Vale, V-E-I-L. And so this road is quite long. It takes upwards of a week to get from one side, from the harbor, all the way into the mountain. And it's a fairly rugged area. It's cold. Even in the summertime, it's quite chilly, and in the wintertime, it is, routinely 2-3 feet of snow on the ground. And it's kind of fall right now, so you would maybe expect to see kind of some fall foliage colors, but the trees in this area are mostly coniferous, a lot of evergreens, and in particular a lot of cedars, which is why this general area is called the Great Cedar Wood. And in the middle of this road, between the mountain and the harbor, there's a town. And this town is called Wintermoon. And Wintermoon is where our story starts today. Because this is really the only comfy, cozy spot on the otherwise harsh and forbidding road between Rhinevale Harbor and Glimmerdelve. And your band, Ludi and the Blowfish, as it is currently named, has been contracted by the inn in Wintermoon to play for the season and entertain travelers as they make their way along the long and winding road from the harbor to the ancient dwarven kingdom. So our scene opens on a cold and blustery evening. You can see the frost in the window panes and lots and lots of snow caked up on the sides of buildings as the sort of the windward side of the buildings has blown these snow drifts up. But inside the inn, it's very warm, it's very cozy. You can tell that this little settlement of Wintermoon has been constructed really with what's on hand in this forest. And so this log cabin kind of aesthetic. There's a hearth made primarily from kind of cobblestone and simple mortar. And this particular tavern is actually a converted forge. So it started out as kind of a very utilitarian structure, and then the owner has discovered that as these this trade builds up every 10 years for the Wintertide Festival in Glimmerdelve, there's enough business to sustain sort of a small inn. So it's kind of a 2-level thing. On the first level, there's kind of an open common area with a fireplace and a little bar area that's been retrofitted from the back. In the back, there's kind of like the anvil and the forge and the smelting area and stuff, and that has been that serves dual purpose as a forge and a kitchen. Interestingly enough, downstairs in the basement, there's one of the few buildings in Wintermoon that has a basement. There's kind of a larder with some ales and other things in barrels, and then upstairs is the second floor, and those are where the guest rooms have been built. And so it is sort of a tacked on kind of addition, as though they just sort of hacked the roof off and built the second floor when we decided, hey, we're going to actually make an inn out of this place. But you and your band are in Wintermoon Inn, and you're about to go on stage. And so it's a fairly quiet evening. There's a couple of patrons over at the bar. There's kind of a couple of folks over warming up by the fireplace. You don't expect it to be a massive show, but you think if you get a good song out here, you might be able to increase your renown in the area, and then maybe when the Festival of Wintertide actually opens in a couple of months' time, you might get invited to play, and that's a serious venue.
Yeah.
And so what I would love is to get some performance checks from each of you. So, Sarah, do you have dice?
No.
Do you have a web application that will roll dice for you?
Just a second. Let me grab something. Okay, I've got dice.
You got one now?
I have a 20-sided dice.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god.
If you would roll it and let me know what you got.
11.
Plus your performance modifier, which is on your character sheet under the skills section.
Pardon?
So you should also have a section on your character sheet called skills, or abilities. I don't know what it's called in this.
Yep.
Skills. And in there should be a listing of skills, and there should be a listing for performance.
Performance is +5.
Great. So you rolled an 11 plus 5, which is 16. Nice. So Hag rolled a 16. That's pretty decent. How about Sarah Leia?
I rolled a 7 and my modifier is +2.
That's a 9 for Sarah Leia. And Hansi?
Roll a 12, and my modifier is +4.
Great. Rolling a 16. So you're sort of taking your positions by the stage, and you're getting your instruments kind of warmed up. Hag, what instrument are you playing?
I play the panpipes.
Panpipes. Cool. So you have a sort of a human musician gets up on stage, and she has a set of panpipes. She's kind of, I don't know, do you tune panpipes? What do you do with the panpipes?
Can I plug them into an amp of some sort?
Yeah, you're sort of
panpipes?
You're sort of casting some magical spells that allow the volume of the panpipes to be amplified in what you would call a yours goes to 11 format. Sarah Leia, what instrument are you playing?
Well, I can play both the drums and the bagpipes. So maybe since she's playing the panpipe, I'll play the drums this time.
Okay, drums. And Hansi, what's going on over here?
I'm gonna play the lute. and do some singing.
This is an actual legit band. I'm really excited. And so we've got a band getting ready to go here. Could we get maybe a little bit of a melody from Hag? Just like sing a melody.
So who knows Wonderwall?
Anyway.
I don't know how it starts, but I know.
Blackbeard, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is fire in your hearth is out. By now, you should have somehow figured out what it's all about.
Just give us a couple of notes. Like on a pan flute with your voice.
Oh, shit. How does it start? Do 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 do, something like that. Chippy melody.
Okay. Can you give us a little bit of a beat on the table? Okay. Start that.
By now, you should have somehow figured out what it's all about. I know you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. And I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. 'Cause after all, you're my arch and fall.
Yeah.
Saved it at the last minute.
Shout out to the wonderful crowd at Arch and Fall here tonight.
Does the inn have a name?
The what?
Does the inn have a name?
The Wintermoon Inn.
Okay.
The crowd was decently into it. They're pretty good. That was pretty good.
Oh, decently.
That's the best you can hope for in this
I
economy.
thought the pan flute was a little. The pan pipes were good. They thought the drums were maybe a little bit off, but it was saved by the lute. And so,
Which we decided to change our band's name to Saved by the Loot.
so this is after you get off stage and the applause dies down a little bit, the somewhat anemic applause, that your compensation for playing in this arrangement is that you get free room and board at the inn, but you're also allowed to keep any of the tips that you get, and 2 free drinks an evening, pretty decent, all the way out here in the frozen north. And as folks are kind of filtering in and filtering out, and you take a look at your tip jar, you see that there are 5 shiny gold pieces that have been deposited in that tip jar. And so it's incumbent upon one of you to keep track of that information. Who would like to be in charge of the band's finances?
I'll do it if I can figure out
Not me.
where to do that.
I'm really bad with money.
I'm really bad with everything.
Can someone tell me where? Okay, it's probably here, but where? Because I have both the downloaded character sheet and the.
I think there's some gold currency. Oh, there's a gold thing.
Yeah.
Let's
Where's
see.
currency?
Go down. It's in the items.
So I would recommend that
Equipment
you
currency.
just sort of write down your earnings here and then adjust them to your totals at the end of the show when you figure out, who's going to keep what.
Oh.
All right. So, and how much did you say again?
5 gold pieces.
Okay.
So your band has received 5 gold pieces, and you'll need to figure out kind of who gets to keep that.
Well, I think that 5 pieces, we can't divide that evenly, unfortunately.
Well, I was a little off this time. Drum's not my strongest instrument, so I'll take a little less.
Fair enough. Cool with that. 2, and 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So should we keep track of our own gold?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Or you can elect somebody to keep track of it all. It's up to you. But that was good. Nice job. And as you kind of get off the stage, you kind of take a gander at the folks here. You know that the fellow who owns the tavern is a guy by the name of Vuthak Forge Right. He's back behind the bar. He's working away, filling up glasses and cleaning stuff out. He fills up a glass and passes it off to somebody who comes up to the bar, and then when nothing else is kind of going on, he takes a glass from his stack in the back and dunks it in some water and dries it off a little bit, sticks it back on the shelf, grabs another glass, dunks it, sticks it back on the shelf. There's kind of near the door, there's what you would describe as a ruddy-looking, kind of shorter dwarven fellow who has kind of a cloak and a staff, and he's kind of sitting at a table working off of some. It looks like he's got a book, but the book is like the pages of the book seem kind of not like normal paper for some reason. And then there's a couple of other patrons kind of scattered around. They look, for the most part, like fur traders or folks involved in the local logging industry. And so it's kind of up to you. What would you like to do at this juncture now that you've made your keep for the evening?
Well, I have a weakness for the vices of the city, especially drink, so I'm about to get drunk.
Get crunk!
Yep. Uthag, my man, pour me up 15 beers.
So Hag sort of saunters jauntily over to the bar, emboldened by her epic performance on the panpipes just moments before.
Good pan flute.
And she requests a beer from Vuthak, and Vuthak turns around. And he's like shorter than human, but taller than a dwarf. And he's just built like a brick shithouse, like he's huge, and he's got sort of a stone gray pallor to his complexion, and he's got kind of like a tusky teeth, but also like a kind of frazzly hair and a big beard. And he says, "Hag, that was some damn fine panpipes, I tell you what." This one's on the house, and he grabs a mug and he pours some dwarven ale. It's kind of one of the stronger varieties, and he hands it over. He says, "Pretty quiet house tonight, though."
What?
He said, "Pretty quiet house tonight, though."
Oh. Yes. What?
He says,
I'm
"What's the
already
matter?
drunk.
Something got you down?"
Oh. Why, yes. Uthag, my man, I need to tell you a personal secret about myself, listed in my character chart.
Lay it on me.
You see, Uthag, my man, I wish my childhood sweetheart had come with me to pursue my destiny.
Oh, I know what that's like. I had a childhood
sure you
sweetheart
do.
back in the day. I used to sail back and forth between Weatherwall in my younger days, between Weatherwall and the Sword Coast. And I had a lady. She lived in Netherwinter. And I liked her so much, I tried to convince her to become a person who swabs decks on a ship. Whatever that is. I'm not a sailor. I run a forge. But she couldn't do it. And on the last day when I left for Weatherwall once and for all, I'd hoped that she'd at least come out to the docks to see me away, and she never did. I never saw her again. But I still think of her all the time. So who is it? Tell me about your sweet lad or lassie.
Well, Uthag, my good man, I would like to tell you, but first I'm going to need some alcohol.
And he chuckles and he sort of says, he pulls out two smaller glasses and he gets something off a shelf that's very high, almost prohibitively high, even for Vuthak. And he takes the stopper off of it and he pours a glass out, one for him, one for Hag. And this liqueur that's in here is sort of a dark swirling liquid, and it's got some sort of sparkly nonsense going on. and he caps the stopper back, and he puts it back on the shelf, and he kind of puts the 2 shot glasses out, and he says, "Well, I'll pay one for a good story." And so he takes the glass in his hand and kind of offers it towards you like a cheers.
Yeah.
Do you reciprocate this cheers?
I do indeed.
All right. So
I
you
cheers.
Click, and he knocks it back. And what do you do
Yep.
with it?
I fucking pound it.
And give me a Constitution save. Just roll a d20 and add your con modifier.
Just a second. Constitution. My Constitution is 13, modifier +1, save +1. So, do you want me to roll for this?
Yeah, roll a d20.
Okay, rolling. Yeah. 1.
Oh!
I'm fucking hammered.
You knock this thing back, and it literally knocks you off of your bar stool.
It literally kills me.
Yeah, you are on the floor. You are coughing and sputtering. You don't know what this concoction was, but it is serious business. Take 2 points of damage.
I will take that damage for a good story.
And Vufak starts laughing. He thinks this is hilarious.
Well, I'm glad someone's having a good time.
So
Wounded pride.
I think Sarah Leia will come over and look at is it Hag? Sorry, Sarg? No? What?
Hag.
What's Hag? Okay.
It's Hag.
Okay, sorry. Maybe I was on. And she'll look down at Hag and look over at Vuthark. What did you do to Hag?
And he says, "That's some top shelf stuff. You can't get that around here anymore."
Literally from the top shelf.
Oh, I don't think it's for everyone.
Well, we build them hardy around here. Not everyone is quite as delicate as our friend Hag over here.
Hag's not usually a lightweight.
He says, "Well, you want a glass?"
Sure.
He pours you a glass.
All right, I'll swig it.
Roll the d20 and add your Constitution modifier.
9. It's 9, right?
That's a 9.
Okay. Constitution modifier
Yep.
is
+2.
okay. Yeah, +2.
Okay. Are lizard folk? Do they have poison resistance or anything like that?
I think so.
Do you have any particular type of damage resistance inherently?
I mean, they're supposed to be sort of constitutionally strong, but I also don't have a. So my Constitution's 14, and they have survival. I have survival as a.
So you are also knocked off your feet and land on the floor. You do not take any damage from this action.
But I'm passed out.
But you are choking and sputtering on whatever this vile liquid is.
Oh God, Volsark. Oh, this is vile. Oh.
And he laughs and he says, "Well, it's an acquired taste."
Hansi is completely ignoring his other 2 bandmates because he's fascinated by the dwarf who might have like some connection to the Wintertide Festival, and he's like, let the 2 other bandmates go and get drunk. He's like, I'm going to get us a gig.
So you're looking at this dwarf. This dwarf is seated at a table. He's got his kind of cloak hood thing up, so you can't see his face very well. But he's got a kind of a gray beard, and it looks like it's like full of twigs and leaves and shit. And he's kind of like tilted the chair back against the wall, and he's kind of cradling a book, and he's making notes and doing it. He's not really paying any attention to you. So
I interrupt him, and I ask him how he enjoyed the show.
He doesn't say anything. He's still absorbed in his stuff.
I ask him if he's from Glimmerdelve.
At the mention of the term Glimmerdelve, he kind of looks up at you, and he says, "Oh, lad, you're one of the folks who played the song just now."
Yes, I did.
It was a nice tune. Well done. And he kind of goes back to his book.
I ask him, would he like to hear another?
Use roll a persuasion check for me.
Okay. Persuasion. So I get a +2, and I guess does my charisma get added to this, or how does this work? No,
I'm not sure. Just whatever your bonus is.
Okay, I rolled a 17, and I have a +2 on persuasion.
Okay, so he decently enjoyed the first song, and he says, I don't get the opportunity to hear too very many musical ballads, especially about the olden days. I would like to hear another one.
I look around and I notice my 2 bandmates are recovering from shots of alcohol, and so I reach for my lute and I play a little solo thing.
Okay. Give me a performance check.
All right. Performance check. I rolled a 4 and I have a +4.
Okay. I would love for you. You're gonna sing a song.
Okay.
I'll play. You can just. Okay. And it's gonna be. Give me 4 verses, and the topic is the ancient kingdom of Glimmerdelve.
There was never a place so fair as the kingdoms of old. They say the rocks shone with wet, and the rock floors were made of gold. Oh, I wish I could see the kingdom of old King Smoke, but we will never see the likes of those floors made of gold. Glimmerdelve, 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 I miss you so. I wish so much that I could go, but I will never see it again.
Okay, that was good. It was better than your roll, so we're gonna go with that.
All right.
He's very impressed. He says, "I've not heard that song for 100 years. Where did you learn it?"
I have been traveling throughout the land of Archenfall, and I learn every song I hear so that I can sing it later. And I learned it from an old dwarf in an inn in Rimvale Harbor, where I'm from.
Ah, Rimvale. Yes, it's been many years. I spend most of my time in the woods, of course. I tend to the trees in this area, and it's left me with a homesickness for my home in Glimmerdelve. In fact, I haven't been back in over 100 years. But your song has inspired me, and I think I might try and make it back for the festival this year.
Well, maybe we could come with you.
You know, that might work, but typically, people who aren't from the kingdom, they don't make it very far past the gates. I think you need to do a couple of things in order for that to happen.
Well, my band and I, we are very dedicated musicians, and it's our dream to play at Wintertide. So, what do you need done? Do you got someone that needs some killing? You got someone that needs some romancing? What do you need?
And he sort of chuckles at that and says, "Well, you know, we druids, we don't need much. We live outside, we tend to the trees and the foliage and whatnot. But there is something you should know. There are 5 noble houses in Glimmerdelve, and if you are seeking safe passage beyond the city gates during the festival, the smartest thing to do would be to get a sigil from each one of these 5 houses. That would indicate to the guards that you are there in the city for official business, and they would let you pass. But as for me, I don't need too much, although I have noticed that there's some funny business going on with some of the logging camps around here. If you do get a chance to speak to them, maybe just suggest that they think about the way that they harvest their lumber. And then he kind of goes back to his book. Now that you're close up to him, you can see that the book itself is actually it's a ream of tree bark, and the pages are made out of pressed leaves. And he's using a kind of a raven's quill and some no doubt ethically harvested squid ink to make notes of some effect.
So these sigils are from the great dwarven houses of Glimmerdelve?
I thought you were on the floor getting soused.
I'm speaking as a player.
Yes.
I'm trying to understand their
Yes. Princess Metagaming. They're the
I'm very excited by this information that I know something about how to get to Glimmerdelve, and also that I think it might be good to get on this dwarf's good side, because I think he could be a good connection to getting these 5 sigils. So I go to my bandmates and I want to share this information with them.
Great, you do that. So now the 3 of you are standing over at the bar next to Vuthak, who is still.
I'm being supported by someone.
We're probably
I've just
supporting
been
each other a little bit.
I have my arm around some of my band. We all have our arms around each other, and we're holding each other up.
It's a beautiful moment.
It's a really beautiful, it's a supportive band.
This has happened before. I'm used to this.
That is the last time that I take recommendations from Vuthak.
And he laughs and says, "Well, this has been fun. I've got to get back in the back, although god damn it, if that wood shipment doesn't show up today, I'm going to go to that lumber place myself and figure out what the hell's going on. I've made all of these stool caps, but I can't put the legs on because I don't have the wood. How hard is it to make some legs for a stool? It's just wood. There's wood everywhere." And he sort of like trundles around behind the bar and is sort of mumbling to himself about that he hasn't gotten his shipment of wood yet.
Well, guys, I think. Do you think we should check out this lumberyard? The funny dwarven druid guy there in the corner seemed to mention something about them too. I think there's something up at the lumberyard.
That's great. I like where your head's at. Can I have some aspirin or something? A glass of water?
Maybe can we do this in the morning? It's nighttime. I think we'll see more in the morning.
Well, I do agree we should get a good night's rest. But maybe we should talk to the barkeep first to see if we can get some compensation for straightening things out. Because I don't like the idea of working on charity. Yeah, like we might get on the Druid's good side, but maybe we can get a 2-for-1, you know? Maybe the bartender here, he probably sees a good bit of coin coming through this time of year.
If you can rustle us up some coin, I'll do it.
All right, let's talk to him before we go to bed.
You talk to him.
All right.
He thinks I'm a fool.
I'm dead.
Hey, barkeep.
Hansi, how you doing?
I
You want a cup of this good stuff?
Don't do it.
I'm more interested in refreshment of another kind.
Tell me.
Well, I heard you've been having problems with a shipment of wood coming from the lumberyard.
Geez, I just can't get this stuff in here. I try to run a respectable establishment, but every once in a while, every so often, and not super often, and certainly not every night, there occasionally is an altercation in here between somebody and some other jackass. And they take the stools, and they smash them against desks and things, and I gotta tell you, I'm going through a king's ransom of stools back here. And normally, it's not a big deal. I just get them at discount and wholesale from Frank Lawrence's place down the street. But for some reason, he hasn't sent me the latest shipment. So, we're just going to have to stand around, I guess.
Well, you should know, Luthrak, that not only is my band, not only are we talented in the performing arts, but we are also hardy adventurers that have solved more than one problem in our time. Maybe we could look into this for you. If you could help us out, we could help you out.
He kind of strokes his beard for a second. He says, well, I am a half-orc of action, and normally I would go and check this out myself, but it is getting awfully busy around here, and in addition to my duties at the inn, I have a couple of orders to fill for the Masons Guild down the street. They need some new hammers, and honestly, I just don't have the time. So I'll tell you what, I can pay you for your troubles. He kind of goes over to his bookkeeping and figures out, does some quick, mental math, figures out. He says, "You get me this shipment. I will pay you the fee I would have paid the delivery crew to get it for me, plus a half. I pay them 15 gold. If you get this shipment to me, I'll round it up to an even 30.
This sounds. I can. How do you guys think about that? 30 gold for this?
That sounds great.
Sounds great.
Not going to get better from a half orc in this economy.
Whisper about that. Whisper.
Would you roll a stealth check for me?
Here we go. 14.
Okay, he does not hear you.
Okay.
As you cast aspersions and are generally super racist.
Sure, Luthrak, we'll take it. We'll look into that for you first thing in the at first light.
He says, "Much appreciated. I knew I hired you guys for a reason, other than to play music in my very reputable and not full of bar fights establishment."
Just don't be giving people any more of that shit. That's why they're fighting.
He
lost their minds.
He sort of laughs.
Well, Luthrak, should we seal this deal with a shot? I'm kind of
No, don't do it.
I'm kind of jealous that I haven't.
Claps his hands together and rubs his palms and gets it back down off the shelf.
Hansi.
Constitution.
You guys want another one?
Mistakes.
You guys want another one?
No.
I have poison resistance, by the way.
Okay, why don't you roll a give me a Constitution with advantage. So roll 2 d20s at the same time.
Okay.
Should I use one of these glasses if I just want water?
Just grab it out of the dishwasher. It's clean.
I rolled 15.
You pound that shot, and slam the glass back down, and it is the most vile stuff that you've ever tasted. But you stomach it and look good doing it.
Well, sweet. All right. Well,
He sort of cocks an eyebrow at you as though perhaps he's misjudged these waifish bard characters from the south. Maybe there is something to these ridiculous city dwellers after all.
well, crew, should we go back to our room and get some sleep?
Alright.
Yep.
All right.
All right, so you walk upstairs, and the beds upstairs, they're very simple, and it's kind of mostly bunk style sleeping arrangements. Hag and Sarah Leia are in one room, and Hansi and some other person that we don't know is in another room. And the night passes uneventfully, and the sun rises the next morning. And there's the sound of kind of cutting wood, and there's a fresh bakery smell coming from downstairs, and you can hear the people kind of getting up and putting their tool belts on and getting ready to go out and do whatever it is they do in the frozen wilderness of northern Arkansas. And you're kind of getting ready to go. Ruthak's downstairs cooking. Bacon and eggs.
Hag, you doing alright?
No, but I'll make it through. God damn it! I'm a folk hero.
Do you guys want some breakfast before we go?
Is there some sort of reviving non-alcoholic drink in this world? I seem to be craving a dark liquid of energy.
There's this evening that you spent at the inn constitutes a long rest.
Oh, okay.
And what that means is you are back up to full health and are otherwise.
We're not hungover.
You're rejuvenated. You can role play as though you are hungover if you choose,
Okay.
but that's up to you. But you are Hag is back to full health for gameplay purposes.
Okay.
I think my eyes are bleeding, but I'm fine. I'll walk it off.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, I would love some breakfast.
Hey, Luthrak.
Vuthak.
Newfak.
Vuthak!
Vufak.
Yeah!
Hey, Vuthak.
Hey!
I don't suppose you could fuel us up before we go and check out the lumber mill. Put us make sure that we're ready to be at our tippy top proficiency as we brave the frozen wilderness.
He says, well, you know what's on the menu. You've been here for a couple of days.
Well, I thought, as a favor to your friends, maybe you could put one on the house for us.
He laughs and says, ha ha ha, Hansi, you're a funny guy.
So, how much does it cost for bacon and eggs?
It's basically 1 gold piece for each food item on the menu.
Oh my gosh.
So 4 gold, or 3 gold for the 3 of you.
Well, we only have 5 gold.
Yeah.
I only have 1.
You've got 15 gold in your...
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure if that counted.
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Oh,
sure. Then I have
yeah,
17 gold. That's great.
Then I'll take some bread and eggs or something.
Okay.
Are you a vegetarian?
No,
Okay.
just
And Hag, what's Hag having for breakfast?
Yeah, I think I'll have some bacon and eggs. Protein sounds good.
Great. Do you want me to like George R. Martin this, or can we just say that you had breakfast and then?
Yeah, we ate
Good
the breakfast.
and I'll reduce the gold.
Okay. You have an amazing breakfast that's worth multiple pages of description if George R. R. Martin wrote it. Stepping outside, the air is crisp. It's cool. There's a little bit of frost still on the ground. It's kind of that in you can see kind of off into the woods, and there's some snow underneath the trees, just a little bit that's kind of residual because it snows every once in a while, but it's not like 10 feet of snow out here. There's a little bit of snowpack up against the buildings because of the wind and whatever, but it's normal. It's about, it's above freezing, but it's below San Francisco. It's chilly.
That's a good point.
It's chilly, but it's not. You're not going to die of exposure or anything. Sun's kind of creeping out over the forest to the east, and then it's illuminating the beautiful broad face of the mountain of Glimmerdelve in the west with a lovely palette of kind of a Bob Ross motif.
It's a beautiful morning.
That it is.
Such happy clouds.
Smell better.
So many happy clouds.
So you have gleaned from some research that we'll say you did at some point that Franklorn, the Franklorn Lumber Company, operates a little ways to the east of Wintermoon. So you have to go down this road through the Great Cedar Wood for just a mile or two, and then on the right side of the road, it kind of veers off into a little gravel place, and you see kind of a large lumber mill right there. It's got a great big saw wheel thing on the outside where they're cutting the lumber down and they're stacking stuff up into, you can see great big cords of lumber on the side, and they're working on various things. And then out in the front, there's a little, there's a barn. There's a small storage barn thing where you would keep grains and other things. And it has a lot. You can tell that it's been damaged recently. Like it's maybe been struck by lightning or some other sort of some sort of fire damage has occurred in this lumber yard.
Can I do some sort of perception check to see if the fire was recent?
Absolutely. Why don't you make perception's good.
Okay. So that's a d20, right?
Yep.
Or 17, and then is it just the modifier of? So yeah, it's my perception is +4.
Yeah,
so.
that's great.
Okay.
So you kind of wander over to this barn, and you can see that there's a bit of soot and ash on the snow just adjacent to the barn, and you know that the snow fell 2 nights ago. So this must have happened either last night or shortly after the fresh snowfall.
But there's no current smoke or embers. Or
It's not currently billowing smoke, but there's a sort of a large hole in the top, and you can tell that it appears as though the fire started from kind of by ground level.
Is there anyone around?
There is a sort of a stout dwarven-looking fellow over by the lumber mill. He's got a big hatchet. He's chopping up firewood. And then there's another dwarven woman, and she is kind of on the other side of the house, and it looks like she's looking out over the paddock area, but the paddock is empty.
What's a paddock exactly?
It's like a fenced area where you would keep livestock.
Do you guys think we should try to break into the barn and investigate, or do you think we should go talk to the dwarves?
We should talk to
Well,
them.
we're birds, so we should probably talk.
Yeah, because we can
We
use
use some-
charisma any information that they have out of them, even if they don't want to give it to us.
Yeah, we can be very persuasive. Should we talk to the woman or the man?
Let's talk to the man first.
What? Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
Why not talk to the man first?
All right.
Okay.
Which one of us is going to go up and talk to him?
Well, who has a super high charisma?
I have 15.
I have 15
I have 16.
plus 2.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I have +2 too.
I have a
But
plus.
you had 16, Sarah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you're the highest then. So you should probably.
Baller.
I mean. So I swagger on up to the gentleman and tap him swaggeringly on his large dwarven shoulder.
And
Um,
he says, good day, lass. Keep your distance. I've got a big hatchet here, and I don't want to lop your face off. Kind of brings it down and splits a piece of wood.
Well, that sure is a mighty hatchet you're swinging there. Anything else you swing that hatchet at lately?
He says, boy, if I could, I would.
We both nod understandingly at each other. Sort of finger gun at each other.
He sort of is chopping wood, and he's not really looking at you. He's looking at what he's doing with the wood, but he says, I take it you've seen the barn.
Haven't seen it lately. Could you maybe tell me a bit more about it so that I know some more about it?
He says, yeah, it's the bloody barn you walked past when you came over to talk to me.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
He says,
See, I had a rough night. My eyesight's not quite what it was.
He said, you had a rough night. My barn was on fire last night.
Oh, it sure is a
He sort of
shame.
takes the hatchet and he thwacks it into the tree stump that he's cutting the logs on, and he kind of turns around and gives you his full attention.
So, you gonna tell me why that barn was on fire, or
He says, I can tell you who did it. It's that bastard Gelben Gray.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me more than that, my good man, my dwarven brother. If you're
He says,
telling stories.
Gelben, I thought we had a good thing going. He runs the lumber camp a couple of miles down the road, and for a long time, he and I were real friendly. But then things started to sour as of late. I don't know what the heck's going on with him. First, he stops buying my extra supplies. Then he stops showing up to the farmer's market. And then just last night, I swear to God, he's over here lighting my barn on fire. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I can't get any shipments out because I'm busy fixing my goddamn barn. And he sort of huffs.
Wow, great. Thanks for the information. Gotta go. Bye.
He sort of looks at you quizzically and sort of shrugs his shoulders and goes back and picks up his hatchet and starts going at the hatchet again.
Well, I guess.
So, what was the name of the guy who he thinks is burning his barn down?
Gelben Gray.
Gelbin, or not? Bin is in boy.
Gelbin. Gelbin. Gray.
Kelvin, you son of a bitch.
Well, I guess we know what happened to the bartender's shipment to Vuthak.
Vuthak.
Vuthak's.
Vuthak. Vuthak.
To Vuthak's shipment.
But it's so. I'm curious if their falling out is recent. What's happened? That might be the heart of our trouble.
It seems like something's changed relatively recently.
Yes, dramatically, it seems. Maybe we should talk to him a little more about why he thinks Gelben is suddenly acting so differently.
At this point, the dwarven woman has sort of overheard you conversing in her front yard, and she walks over after having heard Frank Lorne's raised voice in his discussion with Hag, and she walks over and she says, I'm really sorry. This used to be a very quiet and otherwise uneventful spot, but it just seems like things have been going a little bit crazy around here lately, and I apologize for my husband's attitude, but I do think he's onto something. The Greys have been acting awful strange lately, and we wake up in the middle of the night last night and the barn's on fire. I mean, put two and two together.
But you didn't see him do it.
Well, we didn't see him. I mean, we were asleep. It's not like there was a storm or anything. It's just suddenly the barn's on fire, and there's only one person around here who's been giving us the stink eye lately. It's pretty obvious to me.
Do you know why he's angry? Why? What's happened? Was there some sort of falling out?
You know, I haven't the foggiest. The only thing that I've heard is that he's been having some livestock troubles lately, and we went over there to try and help him with it, but it seems like, you know, he's got a bug up his arse about something. He's not getting help from us, and he hasn't stopped talking to us, and before you know it, he's coming around here burning our barns down.
You said the Greys. Who else? The rest of his family? People he works with?
Well, Gelbin lives out there with his wife and a couple of kids. You know, it's a normal farming stead, just like the rest of them around here. He's more into livestock than he is into lumber. But you know, he's got his family. I don't think anyone else lives out there.
But your beef has mostly just been with him. It's not like you've had bad blood with his family for some reason? Because you just said the Gelbins have been acting weird, so I'm just wondering if he was the only one, or...
No, I mean, we've been very good friends with the Greys for a long time. It's just really in the past few months that something's been going awry.
And so, but is it just Gelbin, or the whole family that's been acting weird?
Seems to be the whole family. You know, we're in kind of the same line of work. You know, he does lumber, and he raises cattle, and we do a little bit more lumber and a little bit less cattle, but kind of the same idea. And we've been on very good terms for a long time, but just in the past couple of months, as I said, things have gone south, and I don't really know why.
Sorry to hear that.
Me too. But the best we can do is make some boards and put them up and fix the granary and move on, I suppose. Hopefully the town guard will come by at some point and do a little bit of an investigation, and we can take somebody to task for this.
Well, you know, my party and I were quite accomplished adventurers. Maybe we could examine the barn a little bit and see if we could figure out what exactly happened to make it light on fire. That might help us out.
Well, you're welcome to go in there if you like. She kind of like starts walking in the direction of the barn. And she's got a big key ring, a whole bunch of keys on it. And she's like going through. She's like, no, it's not this one. This is the front door, back door, paddock, lumber yard. And then she finds the one. She sticks it in the door, and it's the wrong one. She takes it out. She finds another one. She puts it in the door and opens the door. The door swings wide open. And it's pretty dark on the inside except for the giant hole in the roof. And it's kind of casting a column of light down, and you can see various barrels and sacks of grain and feed and stacks of different kinds of exotic woods and other things that you wouldn't normally send out. And then there's a big empty space where the next shipment would be sitting to go out, except that it hasn't been fulfilled because they've been dealing with the barn fire.
So the fire, the scorch marks, do they go up the wall, or is it just a hole in the roof that it's burned?
It looks like there was sort of a point towards the base of the eastern wall that had caught fire roughly head level-ish, and then that kind of went upwards as the flames spread. And then it sort of caught fire on the roof and destroyed a large portion of the roof.
It's very curious that this fire didn't destroy the whole barn. Like something that it burned itself out before that happened. Considering this.
Should one of us maybe do like another perception? I mean, I'll do it too, but like a perception or like magic check or something to see if.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm happy to do that.
So, give me an Arcana check.
Ooh, okay, I don't think I have much there, but...
Then you're fucked.
Only have +1 on Arcana.
I have +2.
Yeah,
Maybe-
+1.
Maybe Hag should do it.
Okay.
Well,
Go, Hag.
Go, Hag.
Alright.
It's your birthday.
rolling. 7. Brr, brr, brr.
+1. 2.
Yeah.
You do not detect any magical business. That was a pretty shitty roll. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm.
Well, I guess okay. I don't have much better, but I'll try for a better roll. To see if there's
okay.
anything.
Sarah Leia pushes Hag aside and says, "Way to go, asshat."
No, asshat. Let me try.
You're not doing it right.
All right, I got a 12, and I have a +1.
You also do not detect any magical residue.
Get out of my way, you asshats. let me give this a shot. 9 + 1.
You also do not detect on
Asshat in the
CSI
asshats.
Wintermoon. No magic has been detected.
What's the dwarven woman's name?
You don't know her name.
Hey there. I'm Sarah Leia.
Lovely to meet you, dear.
Thank you. Very nice you talked to us. So my voice is getting much higher than I'm meaning to be. So what has Gelvin been upset with business in other ways before this barn built burning down, or is that the first of it?
This is the first we've heard of it.
So he wasn't like safe, but you never had any other business troubles due to him.
Not that we know of.
Okay. Because Vuzak said that there was occasional trouble. Sometimes the Simmons don't show up, but they're saying it's not because of this. So.
Very good insight there. Well, I don't know that. Is there anything else that we can figure out in this barn, or should we get going? What do you guys think?
Well,
We should probably find out who this Gelbin Gray individual is. Is he like a human? Is he a dwarf? Do we know?
She overhears you and she says, "Oh, he's a wee little she coughs because it's really hard to hear her voice. He's a gnome, a little gnome, a little stout little gnome.
where can we find him? Just talk, because we're trying to help a friend out. Vuthrak.
Vuthrak. We were coming to help Vuthrak get his shipment. So I think
says,
if we can help you, maybe that would help him.
She says, Vuthrak's been waiting for those stool eggs. I'm awful sorry about that, but we honestly can't fulfill that shipment until we get our farm back in order. But yeah, if you wanna find Gelbin, you should be aware he's in a pretty foul mood lately. But his stead is just another couple of miles down the road on the left. You'll see it. There's a little sign outside. It says Gelbin's Lumber. Says,
Right.
can I offer you some baked goods before you go?
No, I'll take one.
Of course.
Yeah, I'll have faith.
Yeah, she gives you some sort of what would probably be best described as the dwarven version of like an apple turnover kind of thing.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So
Thank you. What you go by? What's your name?
I'm Greta.
Greta. Oh, nice.
Pleasure to meet
This
you.
is Hansi.
Hi,
Hansi.
Hansi. It's a mighty
That's
fine
fine.
lute you got there. I used to play a little bit of lute back in the day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Would you like to rub the strings a bit?
Oh, got a lot of work to do here,
Oh.
but maybe on the way back.
Okay.
You should come see us at the inn. We're in there
I'm-
most nights.
If we get this
Sounds
lumber
okay.
shipment done, I'm sure we'll see you over there. I gotta drop it off sometime, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think we decide to head down the road to Gelbin's Lumber to further investigate this happening.
Great. So you get pretty far down the road, and as you approach, there's sort of an interesting. Well, I would love each of you to roll a perception check for me.
I have a 5 plus 2.
I also got a 5. And
6.
Okay.
And my perception check is +4.
Okay. And what's your plus, Hag?
For perception?
Yeah.
2.
Okay. So you keep walking down the road, and And then as you round the corner, you see on the left a little sign. It says Gelbin's Lumber. And it's a little lumber yard. It's smaller than the Franklin place, but it's got a larger livestock area. But you curiously, you see only one cow out in the livestock area. And there appears to be a deceased cow on the other side of the livestock area. And you can smell now that there's kind of a stench about it.
Like it's been dead a while.
That's more than a few hours. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I have some pretty high animal handling, so
Can I handle some animals?
I think I should go and look at the living animal to see what its state of health is.
Okay. Why don't you give me a check?
Okay. Animal handling check or?
Yeah, animal handling.
Okay.
Well, first you walk up to the paddock, right?
Yeah.
And the paddock is, it's like a 6 foot tall fence-ish, 5 foot tall fence. And on the door to the paddock is a lock.
Well, I decide not to try to break in at this point.
Okay.
Let's go somewhere else.
Shall we?
It's a 5 foot high wooden fence. If you wanted to, you could get over it.
Should we knock? Call for? See
Fuck
if
it.
Galvin's here.
I'm jumping the fence.
All right.
Give me an athletics check.
Oh gosh. 8 plus 0.
You snag your boot on the top of the fence, and so you make it onto the other side of the fence, but you're upside down hanging by your boot.
Help!
Nice job there, Hensy.
Don't just stand there. You guys help me out.
All right, I'll try to help him.
I'll call over one of the cows and talk to the cow. I've got animal handling too.
So do I.
So what are you trying to do?
Well, he's just hanging there, and I feel like if Gelvin comes out and sees this guy just hanging there, that's not gonna look good for us. So.
Wait! I have a plan.
Oh, you have a plan. Okay.
I have a plan. Maybe I could call the cow to come over. Wait, and then I could maybe.
God, you animal handlers are really eager to use your skills.
No, it doesn't make all that much sense. Like, I guess then I could maybe push off the cow, but then fall over. I don't know.
I was gonna try to help you back over to our side or something. I don't know.
Oh,
That seems like it might be more difficult than jumping over myself.
Yeah, one of you guys could jump over.
All right, I'm not the most dexterous or athletic, so you want to try it, Hag?
I've got negative athletics, so.
All right, I guess I have +2 athletics. I'll try it, even though I'm... Okay, so... Oh, 1!
Oh, well, that wasn't a d20, so why don't you roll a d20?
Yeah, that's probably what I should do. Alright, I got a 6 + 2. Isn't that pretty much a hero?
Yeah. So you kind of clamber up and try to dislodge the boot, but in doing so, you kind of wiggle the fence, and it's not a very robust fence.
Right.
It collapses in, and it lands on you.
Oh, shit.
So you, what am I looking for? You take 3 points of damage.
All right.
You are prone. You're under a fence, and you are lying on top of the fence.
Sorry, Andy. I'm just trying to help.
Ah, bloody hell!
It's like a comedy of errors over here.
At this point, you hear a diminutive voice from a window up on the second floor of this establishment, and it says, "What the hell's going on out there?"
Maybe Hag, you should try to speak to him since we're
Nothing!
It doesn't sound like nothing. And you hear a tiny feet
Can I
coming
get
down
up?
the stairs.
A lot of people getting up.
Yeah, would you
can get
please
up.
get
Okay,
up off of the fucking
I'll-
fence?
You know, hobble myself up and try to dust myself off and try to like put on my charismatic face.
And as you are standing up and starting to dust yourself off, the door to the lumberyard swings open dramatically, and there's a little diminutive gnome standing there. He's got his hand at his hilt with a sword.
Galvin Gray, I assume.
He says, "Who the hell are you?"
We are very happy to see you. We are friends of Bluthak down at the inn. You know the inn, I'm sure. You know it.
I stay quiet underneath the fence and hope he doesn't notice me.
I pat the cow.
At this, he draws his sword and brandishes it at you, and he says, "All this time, I thought it was those rat bastards over at Franklorn's, but it turns out the guy who's killing my cattle is just a bunch of ragtag jerks."
We didn't kill your cow. My
love
friend
this
was
cow.
attempting to get your attention, and he fell over the fence. He's clumsy. What can I say?
Roll a persuasion check with disadvantage. So take 2 d20s, roll them at the same time. Take the lower of the two numbers.
3.
Jeez.
But I have a persuasion of +4. But
So
probably
that's a 7.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "A likely story. Someone has been sneaking into my paddock every night for the past 5 nights and doing away with one of my cows. And today I find out not that it is my once dear friend, as I have much maligned over the past few months, but in fact it is a bunch of jerks who don't even live here. I should have known." And he sort of walks, he starts running towards you with this dagger.
Can I cast a spell?
Sure.
All right, I have a spell, I think, called Friends. That seems like something that could help.
Seems like a good idea.
For the duration, you have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you. Oh.
I think he's probably already hostile.
Yeah, we probably should have done that before we try to convince him.
He's unhappy, and he's running at you with the blade.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I'm underneath the fence still, so...
So
Can
what
I
I'd
try
love each of you to
casting
do
a spell?
is roll a d20 and add your initiative, which is, I think, just your dex modifier.
a 2,
6 plus.
and my dexterity is 12?
Your
No,
modifier.
+1, +1.
Oh yeah. Mine's actually
Does it have
-1.
initiative as a separate stat? Initiative +1, yeah.
Okay.
So what's yours?
I rolled a 2 +1.
So 3, and
Mine's
Sarah
a
Lane.
-1, but yeah, I rolled a 6.
say 5, 3, 5, and Hag.
What are we rolling for? I'm sorry.
Roll a d20 and add your initiative. Because we're rolling
Okay, I
initiative.
rolled. Ah! I rolled a 19. My initiative is 0.
Damn. Okay.
You're gonna save us.
Sweet roll, Hag.
So we've got Hag, Gelbin, Sarah Leia, and then Hanze. And give me a second to look something up.
Is this going to be combat? Are we combating?
We are engaging in combat.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Against someone with an appropriate challenge rating, I hope. Okay. So he has a... No. This is the exciting part of Dungeons & Dragons, where I look through a bunch of books. Okay.
Oh, just a second. Could I cast a spell right now?
Not yet, because it's not your... Well, you will in just 1 second.
Okay.
Okay. What was that thing I just found? Just found it. Okay. Cool. Hag, it is your turn. You have a small gnome running at you. He looks angry.
So I have a spell I could cast, possibly. It's called Charm Person.
Okay.
So I could just charm the shit out of him.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I think I might try that.
How many spell slots do you have?
Spell slots? Looks like 2.
Great. And is Charm Person a cantrip, or is it...
No, it's a spell.
Okay. So, tell me about Charm Person.
Pardon?
Charm Person? Do you
Yeah.
just get to cast it, or is there a roll, or what?
It's first level casting time, 1 action, school, enchantment, wisdom 13, blah 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 blah. It just says first level, so I assume it's a roll. It's not passive or anything.
What was that?
And it's not like passive or anything.
Let me look at this. Bard spells, first level, Charm Person. A, B, C. You attempt to charm a humanoid you can see within range. It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or your companions are fighting it.
Mm.
So the Gelbin is going to attempt to make a wisdom save. If it fails, it's charmed by you until the spell ends or until you and your companions do anything harmful to it. The charmed creature regards you as a friendly acquaintance. When the spell ends, the creature knows it was charmed by you. Okay, so you're casting it at first level. It will last for an hour. You kind of wave your hands around and say some magic word. What magic word do you say?
Fucking charm.
Okay. In the ancient language of her forebears, she casts a spell. Let me look up this fellow's wisdom modifier. Okay. He fails and is charmed successfully.
Good
Hey.
job, Hag.
Charming.
Okay.
Hey, now that you guys have, it sounds like Hag just charmed them. Could you guys maybe get this friggin' fence?
Just a minute.
He says he sort of like slows his run and regards Hag, and he's like, "You, I know you. I'm pretty sure I know you. We were friends back in the day, right?"
Yes. What? Yes. Sure. Yes.
he
Great.
says-
Yes. What?
Okay. I forget exactly where I know you, but I'm pretty sure I know you. But these two other folks, why are they sneaking into my paddock in the middle of the night and killing my cows?
Is it the middle of the night right now, dude? We didn't even know. We were just so excited to see you.
He says, roll a persuasion check.
Persuasion.
I'm like, can I sort of try?
Is this a fucking 20?
Oh
Fucking
shit!
Oh my god.
He says he takes his sword and he kind of sheaths it, and he's like, "I know where I know you from. Back in lumberjack school, where we all went and learned to be lumberjacks. I remember you. How have you been?"
Oh my god, Galvin, how's the family?
Oh, they're so good. Well, except for this one thing. This is the funniest thing. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh when I tell you this. I thought you guys were the ones who were sneaking into my paddock and killing my livestock in the middle of the night. But it can't be you.
We're just
Oh, it's
laughing.
so
Why
fun.
would,
Laughing so hard.
why would it be you? Obviously, you came to visit me. No, you know who it is those bastards over at Frank Lorne's place. Because they don't like that my lumber business is doing a fucking great job. and they're trying to put me out of business by killing my cattle. That what drags the lumber from my spot into the city, into the town. So I think it's pretty cut and dry.
I think this fence is really heavy.
And he looks over and he says, geez, I should have replaced that post weeks ago. And he kind of comes over and like pushes it up and tries to get in, like kind of.
Maybe I'll try to help him a little bit.
Thank God. I come out from underneath the fence. That's it.
Okay. And he says, what brings you to my little step?
I think that Hag, being your friend from the lumberjack school, should explain why we're here to see you, Mr. Gray.
And I casually whisper, why are we here to see him again?
We're talking to him about the fire.
Right, the fire. Okay.
At the mill.
Okay, so I turn back to Gelvin and I'm like, Gelvin, bro, do you know anything about fires that mysteriously happen at places?
He says, can you be more specific?
You know, the fires that just kind of just happen, you know, not that we're accusing you of anything, but just like the fires that just kind of happen, you know, around the places that make wood, you know. Not that we're accusing you of anything, because bros wouldn't do that to bros.
He sort of looks at you quizzically, and he says, who have you been talking to?
Hansi,
Gelvin, my bro. I talk to everyone.
Hansi breaks in and he says, Frank Lawrence says that you lit his barn on fire.
We understand that there's been some, a friendship gone a bit sour. That's all, and we were trying to figure out what happened. We're not accusing you. We are definitely not accusing you.
And he says, look, I don't like Frank Lorne. I don't like his dumb wife Greta. But you know what? I would not set another man's barn on fire. I'm not that kind of gnome.
Do you know any gnomes who are that kind of gnome?
People, orcs, elves.
He says, listen, I haven't been over there in a long time. Obviously, I don't want anything to do with those jerks, because I'm pretty sure they're coming over here and killing my cows. Look at this cow over here. It's dead. And he sort of points to the deceased cow.
Yep, it's dead.
And he says, it's weird. Like, if you were gonna kill a man's cow, wouldn't you take it with you? I mean, it's meat.
I mean, it'd probably be better just to steal it. Like, if you were gonna do that. Like, I don't do that, but, it's better alive than it is dead, right? Unless you're gonna eat it right away.
I better examine this cow. I have quite a long background in dealing with animals. When I was learning the lute, I had to earn my keep in a veterinarian hospital in Rhinevale Harbor. So you should let me examine this, and maybe we can get to the bottom of this.
He casts you a kind of a quizzical eyebrow, but then says, help yourself. It's a dead cow.
I examine the dead cow.
And give me an investigation check.
Rolled a 10, and my investigation is plus 1.
Okay. You notice that this cow's name was Bessie. It has a name tag. It was kind of middle-aged for a cow when it died. But most curiously, the wound does not appear to be a bladed weapon of any kind. It seems to have sustained some amount of blunt force trauma to the head. One of the horns is cracked, and there's a divot in the skull just above the left eye. There's also, curiously, it looks like grass stains or something. It's kind of hard to place.
On the head?
Yeah.
Like at this, like where the divot is.
Yeah.
I turned to Gelbin and I said, you said someone's been breaking into your paddock. Have you noticed any sort of locks broken or anything like that? How did they get in?
He says, well, I would have to assume that it's a lot slightly more graceful than you. It's not exactly the most difficult fence in the world to get over.
We're so sorry about that, really. We meant no harm.
He says, yeah, fine. I run a lumber company. It's not going to be hard to fix. He sort of starts propping the fence up and building a little thing to keep it upright.
Did he see any broken locks or anything?
He did not.
It'd have to be quite a dexterous character to be able to jump this fence carrying a bludgeon of that size.
He says, yeah, I guess so.
So Galba, why do you think the Frankloins are killing your cattle? Weren't you all used to be friends? And we're all a little confused. Why are you suddenly not friends anymore?
He says, I think Franklin's just jealous. Because I found one of the best lumber spots I've ever seen. I mean, the most choice, most primo, most incredible wood that anyone in this valley has ever seen. And I wasn't super keen to share with him the location of this lumber spot. And I don't think he was so happy about it. And then when my business started booming from selling all of this incredible grade A wood, he got jealous and decided to cut my bottom line.
So he found out about you finding some great wood, and he asked you where you found it, and you didn't tell him, and then your cows started dying?
He says, seems pretty suspicious, doesn't it?
I see where you're going with that. Yeah, but you never saw him kill your cows, right?
He says, I mean, I wasn't born yesterday, okay? So maybe I haven't seen it happen. Maybe it only happens in the middle of the night. And maybe it's not very loud, and maybe I'm a heavy sleeper, and maybe I got a lot of stuff going on, okay? But I haven't seen it, but it's obviously them, so fucking jeez.
Oh, and just, we're trying to just gather some information. I think that someone else is killing the cattle and burning down.
I think so too. I think that maybe this choice lumber spot has something to do with why that dwarf druid was so mad at the lumber mills.
Sorry, we're whispering over here, but we're agreeing that someone else seems to be doing both of these crimes, and it's probably the same reason that the druid dwarf was so concerned about the woods. That's what we're contemplating.
Yeah. I can say I'm whispering and speak loudly. That could work.
So, but you haven't seen anything else weird besides the cows, have you?
No, I mean, every day I go out to my super secret lumber spot and I cut some trees down and put them on the basket, and then I come back and I stack stuff up, go to bed, and then I get up in the morning and there's a dead cow in my yard.
Have you tried keeping watch overnight on your paddock?
He says, well, I've tried it a couple of nights, but it seems like whenever I'm looking, nothing happens, and whenever I'm not looking, somebody kills one of my cows.
That's tough.
Well, maybe we should investigate this super secret lumber spot to make sure nothing bad is following you home from there.
Roll a persuasion check.
Gosh, that didn't sound very persuasive to me.
But we're just so charismatic.
6 plus 2.
He says, I know you're a friend of my friend from lumber school here, but the lumber spot is a closely guarded secret. If that got out, I'd be in trouble.
I whispered to my companions, we need to follow this guy to his secret lumber spot the next time he goes. Maybe we should hide out in the woods nearby.
Who is the stealthiest among us?
Oh. Who is the stealthiest?
I am not so stealthy. I'm an old
I've got +0 to stealth.
I have +1.
All right, you it is there.
Wait, I have a disguise self spell I can also cast.
Perfect.
Non-spells, disguise self, and
I can do that too.
my proficiencies.
I can do that
proficiency
too.
in disguise kit. So I don't know if that helps. We'd have to have someone to
disguise yourself as a woodland creature, maybe.
Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I can. Can I disguise myself as a black bear?
Yeah, I think so. What does disguise self do?
Let me. I can click through. It says you make yourself, including your clothing, look different until the spell ends, or until you use action to dismiss it. Oh, you can seem 1 foot shorter or taller, and can appear thin, fat, or in between. You can't change your body type, so you must have the same basic arrangement of limbs. Otherwise, the extent of the illusion is up to you. The changes wrought by the spell fail to hold up upon physical inspection.
Yeah. I think the letter here is that you probably should be a humanoid of some kind.
Okay.
But you could disguise yourself as like
Could you be a tree shaped like a human?
I think you could disguise yourself as like
You're just like a nighttime
there
hunter.
You intuit from the surrounding area that there are probably people that help Gilbin on these journeys. You might find one of them around somewhere, and if something were to happen to them, then you
could disguise myself as them.
Do something there, maybe.
Oh.
So maybe we just, for now, we tell him thank you and we figure out about his spot later.
Yeah. I think we should leave.
We're really sorry about your fence there again, and
Don't worry about it.
If something, if you learn anything or see any other weird things, you'd come by the end and you tell us. We're just trying to help the people of Wintermoon.
And maybe you should learn how to build a better fence there, buddy.
But you can also I assure you, build great fences. And that my friend here is just a little
seen
bit
a better,
sore, but
better fence built by kindergartners.
We're not accusing you of anything.
Cranky man. He's a cranky man.
Roll an intimidation check.
Roll a racism check.
I rolled a 6 in intimidation. I get +4. So 10 altogether.
All right. He is not intimidated by your blustery words, and he says, "I don't know what kind of fences they build over and wherever you're from, but around here is just plenty enough for cattle."
One of my character background traits is a little bit volatile, emotionally volatile. So I just felt like I had to role play that.
Very fair. So he sort of goes back inside.
Okay.
Do you want to investigate around?
Yeah, I want to go back away from the house a bit and maybe hide behind some trees and see who comes and goes.
Sure.
I'll leave you to that. I need to use the bathroom for a second, so
I need to go behind a tree and maybe relieve myself and maybe find a flagon of wine.
Right.
Fill my.
Do you want some wine?
What's this stuff? This stuff looks good.
Which stuff?
Is that stuff?
This?
Yeah.
This is maple wine. It's extremely sweet and extremely strong. And it should be chilled. But there's... I've got this stuff. That I'm saving. Okay. So there's this, there's that, there's water.
Red.
Yeah, right. You down for it?
Are you down for it?
I'll have some.
Okay. Can't drink alone.
Where are we at here? 7:30? We got a little bit of time left. One glass of crap. Alright, well, we're going to have to drink this like Neanderthals then.
I can clean some wine glasses if you have some.
I don't know where they are. They're in a box somewhere.
Yeah, that'll happen. Have you seen there's like this movie called, it's called, Jesus, Tom Cruise. It's in the future, sci-fi.
Tom Cruise in the future with sci-fi Minority Report?
No, and the catchphrase is just another day in paradise.
I know that one.
Wow, this room looks very much like the place he stayed in.
We're taking a momentary hiatus, Sarah.
Yeah, I gathered that.
We'll be back in a second. We'll be back after these messages.
How long have you been in South Korea?
Pardon?
How long have you been in South Korea?
Like 5 years in total, but I've been here officially since May. So I got here in May.
Cool.
Yeah.
So were you in Korea before and then somewhere else and then
Yeah.
went back?
Yeah, I was in Korea for a number of years. Then I went back to go to makeup school, and now I'm back in Korea.
Okay. What
So
do you do
Tom,
there?
actually, this time last year, I was turning you into a zombie.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Good times.
But that was after you stopped doing this zombie thing, right?
Yeah, this was a treat especial
Oh,
from Sarah's makeup school.
wow.
You're in makeup school? That's awesome.
She was.
Oh,
I was.
well, you've been through makeup school? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an accredited person who does makeup. What's
So is
the-
that,
you
is that
guys-
what you do in Korea?
Pardon?
Is that what you do in Korea?
No, I wish I teach.
Ah, yeah, I have a friend of a friend that I used to know a long time ago who teaches in Korea too.
Yeah. Recommended if you enjoy, money and that sort of thing. And you guys all work together?
No,
Oh,
we're all from the same improv group. That's true.
well.
Yep.
That's why we're so good at role playing. Cheers.
Cheers. I was going to see if anybody had started following us on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. What's
Do
the
we
word?
have viewers?
Let's see.
Where's the LaCroix?
Yes, my cup overfloweth with LaCroix.
I see myself checking my cell phone.
That's good.
I don't see how I can see the viewer count on here.
Who knows?
Who knows? But hello, viewers. We're happy you're there.
This is the part of the game where we stop playing the game and drink.
Well, we can do a quick cryptocurrency market check. Ethereum is up to 1388, which is exciting for some people out there. Bitcoin kind of staying steady around 14,000, and we're just going to close that retired. All right. Back to Arkenfall.
Yeah.
I finish pissing behind a tree, and I pull out a flagon of wine and take a sip.
Good call. As you're sipping on your flagon of wine, you notice what appears to be some sort of stable hand or other type of person kind of come out from an adjacent barn and latch the door. And he sort of furtively looks around and then picks up there's a little chest next to the barn. He opens it and he pulls out a hatchet with a very curious looking head, axe head, blade, whatever. It's doesn't look like your standard sort of iron tool. It's very almost like a silvery white metal.
So are we just watching him from like a short distance, sort of?
Oh, we retreated to the tree line.
Oh, okay. All right. Is it nighttime yet, or are we just?
It is becoming nighttime slowly.
All right.
What time of day do you think it is?
About 4 o'clock in the evening.
Oh wow!
But you're at a fairly high latitude, so the sun is starting to go down.
Did anyone have anything that was decent for Arcana? Because maybe can we see the axe had enough to gain something from if we did an Arcana check that was successful?
Yeah, we'll say yeah. You can do an Arcana check on it if you want to. One of you can once.
I only have one Arcana.
I have +2.
Okay, you should do it because I have +1.
Hag, ship it.
You have all the best stats.
5.
You can't tell whether or not this is a. Well, you can tell that it appears to be a magical item of some sort. You don't know how it is a magical item. You can tell even from this distance, upon sort of slightly closer examination, that it the blade appears to be made of mithril.
What's that? What's mithril? Other players, or DM?
It's a particularly rare and particularly strong metal.
Is it associated with glimmer elf, like in the dwarven culture there, perhaps?
Make a history check.
I have +3 on history.
All right, you make the history check. I don't know what my.
13 +3.
You know that all of the mithril from the surrounding area in this part of Arkenfall, and indeed almost all of the mithril that is generated by Arkenfall, comes from this mountain chain and is mostly funneled through markets in Glimmerdelf.
I want to wait and watch and see what this guy does with this hatchet.
Sure. So he goes into the house, and then a little while later, he and Gelbin come back out, and he goes back to the barn and gets a trolley thing, and then he comes back out like a little wood barrel thing, and then the two of them make their way off into the woods.
I say we follow.
Should we all follow, or just the person that's actually going to be disguised?
Well,
I guess until we are able to put you in your disguise.
I haven't found a good disguise yet because
you're gonna get him, right? We're gonna like clobber him or something and hide him in the bushes and then.
Well, he's really close to Gelbin now, so we're gonna have to follow at a distance and wait for an opportunity where they separate. Okay. That might work.
I don't. Well, does anyone have any spells that can create? Like, I think. Yeah, it's like, can someone create an illusion or something? Something that would help us get them to separate, maybe?
There's a cantrip, like illusory sound or something like that.
Yeah.
I have a cantrip called Mage Hand, where I can just make a hand.
Yeah, that's one option.
Apparently.
Let's see, minor illusion. Create sound or image of object that lasts. Well, I think I can learn. Can I? How many spells am I allowed to have? Nope, I can't add any more. I don't think. I know 6.
Is it among the spells that you know?
Nope, it's not. It's one I could have learned, but I did not.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. Oh, I can. Oh wait. So I can shape water.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think that would work on snow?
Yeah, I can say sure.
So I can shape. I can shape water at will. I can shape snow within a 5-foot cube. So maybe I could make some snow fall from.
The roof or something.
Fall from the roof and hit Gelbin on the head. Cover Gelbin.
Okay.
So what's our plan after that?
Then
He's covered in snow.
we'll run up and clobber the other guy and drag him off and have me as this guy's husband.
That sounds about as good as anything I can come up with.
I mean, either that or we just follow them and bide our time and see like when one of them has to pee or something.
Well, I guess the idea is that none of us have stealth, so we could just try to follow them, but then we're probably gonna get caught, right? So
well, we'll only get caught on the way back when they discover our tracks, but we can also like walk off to the side, so maybe they don't notice.
Yeah, I mean, do we think it's better just to try to follow them and be stealthy and see what happens, or to try to do this cantrip?
I hit Gelbin with a ton of snow.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not volatile. I have volatile emotions.
So as Gelbin is like crossing the tree line and beginning to make his way into the woods with this other flunky behind him, several feet behind him, a large volume of snow that had previously been sitting on a tree branch strangely slides off and hits him. And Gelbin is not a very tall person, right? And so he is
short.
Covered momentarily, head to toe, in a gnome-sized snowbank.
All right, who's the strongest of us?
Come on, guys, let's go. Let's go clobber this guy. Strongest is
I have 10, so I don't think it's me.
I have 9.
I have 10.
All right, I'll do it then. I'll try to go up and whack the farmhand on the back of the head.
Okay, make a strength check. You succeed. So you can hear a muffled voice from underneath the small snowbank. Sounds like somebody's under there trying to get out, and it sounds like they're not being very successful at the moment. The what's his name? The guy, the flunky, hears some rapid steps behind him and turns around only to see a lizard folk woman with a blunt instrument running up towards him. He begins to draw his weapon, but it gets snagged in his scabbard, and so he turns back around to like pull it out more forcefully, but your blunt instrument snags him across the head and knocks him out cold. The thwack.
Okay, quick.
Drag the body away.
All right, I'll drag the body away. You put his clothes on. He's not dead, right? He's just not.
He's
dead.
breathing.
Yeah.
I can cast the disguise self spell. Should I use my spell?
Yep.
Seems like a good idea.
All right, I'm going to use my spell. Disguise myself as him. So I use one spell.
Can I put him inside somewhere so he doesn't like freeze?
What you guys should go hide him somewhere.
Well, I am. I'm just I
Wait until we go.
You can hear a shuffling noise from underneath the snow as someone is starting to get out.
All right, so I'm dragging him.
Just drag him into the woods and then drag him somewhere else later when we go.
So you have assumed the form
Yes.
of this fellow. You have made some mystical gesticulations and said some words, and a shimmering veil covers you from head to toe, and you appear just like this man that you've just assaulted. Meanwhile, his genuine body is lying on the ground in the snow.
I'm pick him up by his shoulder, or put my arms under his shoulders and drag him back towards the house.
and a lizard folk woman is dragging him back to the homestead. Hag, what are you doing during all of this?
I'm admiring her hard work and her tireless work ethic. I'm supervising, walking behind, finger gunning.
Are you giving me a thumbs up? Like,
All right,
she's doing a good job.
Yeah, look at her
gnome
go.
has emerged from the snowbank, cursing and swearing, and he sees in front of him his flunky, and he says, "Why didn't you do something about that? Help me out of the snow. What's wrong with you?"
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Let me help you out.
And
And I start trying to help him out. I start helping him out.
sort of swats your hand away, and it's like, "Oh, it's too late now. I'm out. So let's fucking go."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
I follow behind him.
He sort of trundles off into the bush. You are following.
Well,
The
I think
three of you.
Should we follow though? Because I guess I feel like we would just be attracting attention to ourselves. We should probably just wait there, and you should be the one that. But then I guess if something happens, that could be bad.
Well, we didn't discuss it, so I'm too far away to actually participate in this discussion. At this
All right.
point.
Well, we'll sort of. Be
Rule number one of
fairly-
Dungeons and Dragons: split the party immediately.
Yes, always cover more ground. We'll follow it at like a safe distance, being as stealthy as we can. How about that?
Sounds like a good plan.
As a bunch of bards, yes. Super stealthy.
Yeah, there's a strange sound as though someone is dragging a lute over a series of cobblestone steps.
No! My loot!
So the two of you head off into the woods, and the sun is beginning to set. After you're wandering a very strange and circuitous path through the woods, you are following this goblin who appears to be following a map of some kind, some just hand-drawn regular map. But the undergrowth here is very thick, and so there's not tracks, there's not enough snowpack to really tell exactly where you are, and it takes a very circuitous route around various trees and boulders and rocks and things, and you get kind of turned around, and as you make your way deeper and deeper into the woods, it gets darker and darker. In the meanwhile, the two bards that are following your tracks should be making stealth checks.
I was afraid of this. 12, and then what is it? Just our dexterity?
Oh, there's a stealth modifier.
So 12 and a 19.
Yeah.
I get a -1.
So 11.
So, yeah.
Okay. So you are not the most stealthy bard in the world, but you're far enough away that the crunching through the undergrowth does not appear to be detected by Gelvin. However, you are so far away that as they pass in between the rocks and trees, it becomes harder and harder to follow them.
I can make light. Well, I guess that's probably going to totally ruin our stealth, so never mind. But,
You can do whatever you want. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Let me look at my light spell.
I try to
it's not
break some branches as I go,
Mm-hmm.
without being too obvious about it, so I can find my way back if I want to.
I'm gonna have you roll a deception check.
Okay.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Deception.
Yeah, deception's one.
I've done this before.
11 plus 2.
Okay. So as you're moving your way through the woods, you are.
I'm just breaking off little bits of branch,
Yeah, and you're doing it stealthily enough that Gelbin does not notice you doing this. And the two of you are wandering through the forest, you start to notice, although you've lost sight of Gelbin and your disguised friend, you see these particular branches that have been broken off at roughly waist height, and they point in certain directions, according to the way that they've been twisted and broken. And so you are able to follow these, and it is your intuition that the consistency of these breaks and the direction these breaks are pointing, your friend is not too far ahead of you.
He's helping us out by himself.
Yeah, it's almost as if you were right there with us. After another hour or two, Gelbin is walking in front of you, and he turns around and he says, "You've got the hatchet, right?"
Yes, I have the hatchet.
He said, "Okay, well, give it to me."
I check in my robes and I say, "Oh man, wait! I thought you said you were supposed to have the hatchet this time."
He looks at you and he says,
"Did you lose it in the snowbank?"
he's like bewildered. He's like, we were standing in the kitchen, and I said, "Go get the hatchet from the shed."
Yeah.
What did you do?
I gave it to you.
You didn't, though.
Wait, you don't remember?
Roll a deception check with disadvantage.
Wait, so why don't you have the hatchet? Because wouldn't it just be with his stuff? Wouldn't we just have taken it?
Well, but you dragged the guy's body into the house.
But I left all of his stuff there. Like, it's not like I kept the hatchet purposely. I wouldn't have done that.
We didn't have time to check for the.
Unbelievable. Okay.
13.
So he's like, he looks at you, and he's like, "You know what? Whatever. We'll just make this. We'll just mark the trees, and then you're gonna come back here tomorrow and harvest the trees that I mark.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right?
Yeah, we'll do.
That
Yes,
make sense?
yes.
You know how to get here?"
Yes. I follow. I'll need to take the map.
He sort of sighs, and he's like, "Here."
All right. I'll come back tomorrow. First thing.
So then he turns around and he walks through this sort of strange barrier of trees, like a row of trees. And then on the other side, as you follow him through, you see this incredible grove. It's a beautiful old stand of incredible ironwood trees. And there's, it's almost like there's a circle of trees around the perimeter, right? And then kind of a clearing with these beautiful little brook running through it, and some mossy stones placed ever so slightly in different ways. And then there's kind of like a palisade of these beautiful pine trees that are going all the way up into the sky. And then at the end of this sort of palisade, there's this giant ironwood tree that looks like it's been growing there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And he says, "Right, we've hit the perimeter. There's nothing left to get on that side. So I want you to start with these road trees, knock them down, chop them up, put them in the thing, bring them back. You can manage that, right?"
Oh yeah. No problem. I've been doing it. I've cut trees.
Now I want you to follow me around, and we're going to mark the ones where I want you to cut them, because we don't want to knock them down into each other, because that'll make it harder to harvest.
Yeah.
And so he starts marking trees with little ribbons to show you where you want it to cut. Meanwhile, camera moves back to the forest. You and Hag are walking through the forest when something catches Hag's leg, and she trips and falls onto the ground. And you notice that your leg has been ensnared by a plant of some sort, and so you shake it off, and then it sort of it sort of grabs at you again. And around the same sort of time, you can sort of hear sort of a strange rustling in the bushes.
Can I hear this too, or is she?
You can hear this.
Okay.
Both of you can hear this. And almost like, when you're on an old ship and it's sort of listing and there's that creak of wood that's like, right?
I know it well.
And all of a sudden, I pick up a book. I would like the two of you to roll initiative.
Six.
3. So this is not gonna go well for me.
So, a sort of large branch comes falling down out of the top of the canopy, and it swings down, and it's aiming right for Sarah Leia. And it flies down, and it hits you right on the head, in all of its leafy goodness.
Am I knocked out?
No, but what happens is what's your HP?
12.
You.
That's my armor class.
No,
I don't know
it's
what my hit point. I haven't taken any hits, so I assume it's 10. But no, maybe am I getting this wrong? There wasn't anything on the sheet.
Mine started with 8 myself, but
There wasn't anything on the sheet.
Your hit points would be at the top, I think.
well, she's on the PDF.
So.
Well, no, I mean I have the. Hold on. Well, it just like where is it? Oh yeah, it's 10.
Oh,
It's 10.
you start with 10. Oh, it must be a lizard thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
You take, unfortunately, 12 points of damage.
Am I dead?
You are unconscious. You have a large head wound. You're bleeding. And Hag, standing right next to you, realizes that you have been struck by a very large animated tree. So, what was your initiative?
-1, and I rolled my modifier is -1. I rolled a 3, so.
Right, so you're 2. Hag, what was your initiative?
0. I mean, my roll was 9, or no, 6. My roll was 6. My modifier is 0. So.
Got it. And then... Okay. You are unconscious. You're on the ground. You're bleeding. Hag, it is your turn. There is a very large, angry tree towering over your friend.
Sure
What
is.
do you do?
So in my skills, I have something called medicine. Could I medicine her up real quick? Or
You can use medicine to stabilize her.
okay. I also have a skill called nature. Could I charm the shit out of that tree?
What does the nature spell do? Oh, so it's
I
a skill?
It's just a skill.
That's has to do with checks.
Oh, okay. Okay. So yeah, I think I'll medicine her.
Okay, roll a d20 and add your medicine.
Okay. 9 plus 2 is 11.
11?
Yeah, 11.
Okay.
Doesn't sound good.
Let me just wisdom. Wisdom 178. Just need to make sure I get this right. Okay, you succeed in stabilizing her. So you are conscious again.
Okay.
Roll a d4. Okay, you regain that many hit points. You're now at 2. Okay. The tree is unhappy about this. It attacks Hag, and it takes a great big fist of tree, and it is plummeting down from the sky. But you are not taken by surprise. You've seen this tree. You know what this tree can do, and you deftly dodge out of the way. And the tree comes, and the fist comes flying down and smashes into the ground next to you. Very, very fancily done. So, Sarah Leia, it is your turn. What would you like to do?
So the tree is a creature, right?
It is a giant animated tree.
Okay.
It is unhappy that someone has been cutting down its friends.
Yes.
Somebody who looks a lot like a lumberjack.
Oh boy. I'm not sure what to do, guys. It would be great, if we could charm this tree somehow and tell it that we're not cutting it down, but that we are trying to figure out what's going on, and we can maybe help it not cut down its friends. But that doesn't seem to be an option. I'm realizing that I only have one really defensive spell, and I don't know if it would work on trees. It's Tasha's hideous laughter.
Okay.
So that just makes it says
talk me into it.
A creature of your choice can see within perceives everything as hilariously funny and falls into a fit of laughter if this spell affects it. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or fall prone, becoming incapacitated and unable to stand for the duration. A creature with an intelligence of 4 or less isn't affected. So I don't know if this would even work at all, because I don't even know if it's a tree, a creature. Is it intelligent? I don't know.
I mean, it has an intelligence higher than 10. It knows a language. I'm gonna say this is legit. You could make a tree laugh.
Okay, I'm gonna try it because it's the only defensive spell I have, really.
Okay.
So what do I roll? Is it a d20 or?
It just needs to succeed on a wisdom saving throw. So it will attempt to do so. It fails.
Yes! I made the tree fall into a pit of laughter for 1 minute.
You say, "Why don't you make a tree like a tree and leave?" And it goes, and it just starts convulsing.
It's the funniest thing it's ever heard. I knew it! I knew that joke would land.
I knew he would fall for it.
Oh, God.
I'm really glad I branched out into comedy.
Oh,
It's almost as if it's in my roots.
Oh, I'm barking with laughter.
All right, and
Wow.
then, but I can't. Okay, this goes for a minute, but I can't leave in that time. Can I? I can't
You could
grab.
run.
Okay, I'm gonna grab Hag's hand, and we're gonna just run away from this very angry tree.
Agreed, we're running.
Okay, in which direction are you running?
Well, I think we're still gonna try to follow you because.
Okay, great.
But we're running, but a little stealthily.
So, you are following this gnome around.
Yep.
And he's marking trees and mumbling to himself about various different aspects of these trees. Well, this bark is high quality. This is not as nice. Take this, make this into a couple of wands. This would work. Maybe I can sell these at a markup at the farmer's market. This would be all right. Are you paying attention? Are you taking notes?
Taking notes. Farmer's market.
And as he's walking
Do
around,
I get
you hear-
overtime for this? It's kind of late, Gelbin.
He just looks at you. And then and he kind of keeps going. And then there's a strange rustling sound, which turns into kind of a crunching, crashing sound. And then about 20 feet away, out of a giant hedge, a human and a lizard person just fall out of the forest into this clearing.
Oh my God! Those people followed us.
He looks at you and he's like, "Well, just stand there. Get him."
I say that they look bigger than us. Maybe we should run.
We can talk this out. Hey.
He says,
Kevin!
I knew you weren't what you appeared. You are killing my cattle, and what's worse, you've discovered my secret lumber spot. And I'm afraid you're not going to make it out of here alive.
Well, there's no need to resort to violence.
Yeah, you won't make it out alive.
He says, yeah, you tell him.
Yeah, they won't.
And he draws his dagger again.
Okay, so
And he says,
I
you're going to
do a
regret
charisma-
the day you crossed Galban Gray.
So there's no chance of doing a charisma check at this point because they're hostile now.
He's very angry. He didn't like you to begin with, and now he really doesn't like you.
Okay, so who is he going after?
Both
Both of us? One of us?
you. So I think we're going to keep the same initiative order, but I'm just going to remove the tree.
Wait, I need to be part of this combat. Right?
Yeah, so you need to roll initiative.
Okay.
But he still believes that you are on his side.
Yeah, so 15 plus 1.
Okay. So you are actually at the top of initiative. I'll re-roll his initiative. It doesn't change. Okay. Okay. So Hansi, it's your turn first.
I think I'm going to cover him with another pile of snow.
Okay. You can also hold action if you choose. So you can take yourself out of initiative order and then come back somewhere else.
Now, this sounds like a good idea to me. I'm going to try to bury him in snow again.
That's fine. Is that a cantrip? Or?
So it's a racial trait feature, column wave shape, water. Casting time 1 action, level cantrip. Okay, so I've used a disguise thing.
Right.
And I've used shape water once.
It's a cantrip, so you can cast it as many times as you want.
Okay.
So there are no trees directly overhead currently.
Okay. Interesting. So,
you could sort of launch it out of the forest.
Yeah, I could do that, or I could just bring some snow. Snow's on the ground, right?
There are patches here and there.
Okay.
Not a huge amount. There is a little brook.
Little brook. That works. Let's see. I can freeze water, providing there's no creatures in it. I can change water's color or opacity. I can change the flow of water as I direct. You know what? I just attack Gilbin.
You gonna blow the lid off this thing?
Yeah. I have his map, so. You know, I'm going to attack him with my bare fist.
With your bare fist.
Yes.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
All right.
With advantage.
With advantage.
He's not going to suspect it.
9.
Plus what?
Plus 2.
You do not hit him.
Oh gosh.
You're standing sort of behind him as he's marching towards your compatriots, and you sort of reach out to grab him and hit him, but he's a little bit quicker than you anticipated, and he doesn't notice.
Oh, that's cool.
He's just walking in front of you with his sword out. So now it's Hag's turn.
Well, I can't charm him again, can I?
It's been more than an hour.
Yeah.
So you could. But he's hostile to you. Is that a factor?
Let me read it real quick. You attempt to charm a humanoid you can see within range. It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or your companions are fighting it.
Yeah, you can try to charm him again.
Yeah, why not? I'll fucking be charming.
So is that your last first level spell?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So he gets advantage, and he has to beat what? What's your spell DC? Oh, it's a saving throw. Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw.
I think that it's versus your spell DC. Do you have that listed somewhere? Let me just make sure that that's accurate. You'd think I would know how to play this game by now.
It's a complicated game.
Saving throw. See spell saving throws.
It says spell save DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma.
Yeah. So what is that?
Oh god. 8 plus your proficiency bonus. Just 2 plus charisma modifier. Okay, so should I roll a d20 or what?
No. You are just going to attempt to charm this guy.
Okay.
Spell. Yeah, spell DC. So, what's your proficiency bonus?
My proficiency bonus is 2.
So it's 8 plus 2 plus your charisma?
Yeah.
Which is?
My charisma is 16.
What's the modifier?
Modifier is plus 3.
Right, so your spell DC is 13.
Okay.
So he's going to try and beat a 13, but he gets 2 dice.
With advantage.
He succeeds. He's like, I'm not falling for that one again. I know you're not that girl from lumberjack school. I figured it out.
I'm trying to figure out how bardic inspiration works.
Yeah, how does that work? What is that?
It says use a bonus action. What exactly is a bonus action? Like
a bonus action is in this book somewhere. I think you get to take 1 bonus action per turn. 189. Hang on. Various class features, spells, and other abilities let you take an additional action on your turn called a bonus action. You can take a bonus action only when a special ability, spell, or other feature of the game says you can do something as a bonus action. Otherwise you don't have a bonus action to take. You can only take 1 bonus action on your turn. So you have to choose which one you want. So if you've already taken an action, you can take 1 bonus action.
Can you take a bonus action before an action?
No.
Okay.
But you can use an action that confers a bonus action, I think.
Is it my turn?
It is, so Hag just went. Now it is Gelbin's turn.
Oh.
Gelbin is going to attempt to attack you because you're closer. You're standing slightly in front of Hag.
And I had rolled an initiative earlier and I got an 18, so just saying.
Yeah, I got you right here. He lunges at you with his dagger. But he's you are a very lithe and graceful lizard folk, and he has underestimated your combat capacity, and you deftly dodge out of the way of this dagger. You sort of like judo him out of the way,
like a ninja, maybe.
Exactly, like someone who is a pirate / ninja.
Right.
Like a lizard pirate, maybe.
Yeah.
Ninja.
And now it is your turn to do with what you will.
And then will it be
Hansi's turn after my
And then it will be Hansi's turn.
Well, someone should bardic inspiration someone, but I'm not exactly sure. Like, I can't really.
Well, if you bardic inspiration me, that would help me, right? Give me an
So
extra.
it's a bonus action, so it's in addition to another action.
I see.
Okay.
Be mindful that you are quite bloody.
Right. I was thinking maybe I would use my cure wounds to help myself because
Not a
I'm
bad idea.
pretty down there on the hit points. So I think I'll do that.
Okay.
It says regain 1d8 plus 2 hit points. So
Well, that's a D6.
that can count.
The-
This is it?
Diamond-shaped one.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's the
This one?
no, the one with 8 sides. That's the one.
Yeah. Are these the same?
No,
Oh, okay.
that's a D10.
Okay. 4.
There you
So
go.
I got 6 back.
That's not too shabby. So you're at 8.
Yeah, so I'm at 8. Yay!
Is that right?
And I would like to do a bonus action to help, a bardic inspiration to help Hansi.
Great. It sounds like a great plan.
So I think you need to sing a little tune for me, probably to like
Oh,
pep me
wow.
up.
It seems like something you should do.
Okay, and what's your backstory, Hansi, or do I not?
Well, my backstory is that I am from the water and I came onto
Oh, right,
land.
because you wanted to sing with the humans.
Yeah.
Okay. Hansi, I'm helping you. Hansi, I'm giving you courage and strength and inspiration. Oh, Hansi, this is your song. My gift is my song, and it will help me fight for you.
Yeah.
Do you feel inspired?
I feel inspired.
That's great. Well done.
Thank you.
I'm going to award you a point of inspiration.
Yay.
And what that means is, I think I'm mincing the terminology here, but at any point, if you want to make a roll with advantage, you can make a roll with advantage.
Okay,
One
that's for me, but
For you.
But he also gets inspired.
He,
right?
he is bardically inspired.
So now I
I'm
get
also-
a D6 to add to something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm awarding you a point for singing a great song.
Awesome.
And so at some point, if something particularly clutch needs to happen, you should spend it
Awesome.
and use advantage.
All right, is it my turn? I cast Hideous Laughter on Gelvin.
Okay. And so that's Wisdom save
Yep.
versus your spell DC, which is,
I don't know what that is.
can you look it up?
Spell DC, you say? Where would I find something like that?
In your character sheet somewhere, probably in the spell section.
No, in the spell section, spells, first level, casting spell casting modifier plus 2. Spell slots. I got a modifier, you know. I got things.
Those are good things to have.
I don't see a DC anywhere. This would be something good to.
It would be 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier.
Proficiency bonus. What's that?
Whatever magical implement you're using.
Okay, I don't have a magical implement plus my charisma.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be 10, right?
Because you're both your charisma modifier.
My charisma modifier is 2.
Right. So it should be. So it's just it's 10 plus your proficiency bonus.
Well, I don't think I have a proficiency bonus because I don't have any sort of spellcasting item. Spellcasting modifier plus 2 on Bard. Is that my proficiency bonus?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're 12.
Okay, I'm at 12. And I'm going to. Can I roll my Bardic Inspiration to give me more?
Yes. On damage rolls.
I think on anything. Creature can roll a die to add the number roll to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw it makes.
Okay. So did you roll a d6?
5.
So you get to add 5 to your.
That's
Well, you get to. Wait, what was the text of it?
It says I can add the d6 to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw.
Yeah, so you're not making the saving throw, so there's
I see.
nothing for you to do here.
I see. It's unfortunate.
Um,
Saving my inspiration then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Succeed on a wisdom saving throw or fall prone for up to a minute. Make another wisdom saving throw. The target has advantage on the saving throw if it's triggered by damage on it. Okay, so it's going to attempt to. So Gelbin is going to attempt to resist, and your spell DC was
12.
He succeeds.
Oh,
Sorry,
I'm useless, guys.
you're not useless.
I'm going to, as a bonus action, cast Bardic Inspiration on Hag.
Great, Hag, you have bardic inspiration.
Hag, I want you to win. I am so inspired by your
Robot dance.
and your guns on your hands. Oh, Hag, I want you to win. I want you to triumph.
You want you to win.
I want you to run in the wind.
Want you to run in the wind.
So happily. I want you to jazz hands, and I want you to kick ass. Go, Hag.
Great. You also get a point of inspiration, which you can
Hey.
use to roll something with advantage.
Great.
Brilliant. It is now Hag's turn.
Fuck. Well, I've used up all my spell slots, and I don't think my cantrips will do anything against him, so I guess I just need to attack him.
Kick his ass.
Kick his ass.
Just like he said in the song.
Yeah. So should I just roll a d20, or should I just like...
How does
So
attacking work?
you make
Yeah.
an attack roll. So you roll a d20 and add your basic attack bonus.
Okay. Well, I will attack him with my super cool rapier.
Oh, shit.
All the rapier's coming out. And, 7.
7 plus what?
7 plus what?
7 plus what?
Fucking...
Be under your attack bonus.
Plus 2, I guess.
Okay.
It says
You miss.
rapier plus 2.
He's very short, and you
Yeah.
slightly have misjudged where that rapier needs to go, and so
Yeah.
it sort of swishes past his shoulder when you're kind of aiming
Yeah.
for a kidney on a normal sized person. He says, "Ha! That's to do better than that."
So the bardic inspiration doesn't do anything?
Oh yeah, the bardic inspiration. Can I add that to the thing? Or can I roll another?
You could roll a d6 and then add that to the attack roll.
Which one's a d6? Is it this guy?
It's the one with 6 sides.
Well, that hints the name. I don't think I have.
The square one, the cube-shaped one.
I don't have any of those.
I could roll a d6. Can I roll a d6 for
Why
him?
don't you roll
Yeah,
a d8, and if
someone-
it's higher than 6, then
Then it's a
we'll say
6.
it's a 6.
Oh, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, can someone just roll a
Oh,
d6?
sure, I'll roll for you. It's 4.
Can I?
So you rolled a 7, right? Initially?
Uh-huh.
Plus 2 is 9. So 13. So you hit. You
Oh.
were so inspired by Hansi's incredible song
That I stabbed a man.
that you fucking cut that guy.
Good job, Hag.
He got
That's
cut
what
so
I
bad. Wish he had never been cut so bad. So roll damage.
Sorry, what?
Roll
I missed
damage.
something. Roll damage. With a d20, I assume.
Yep.
15? Wait, what? I'm doing something wrong. What?
No, sorry. So what damage does your rapier do?
Oh,
Look at
sorry.
rapier.
My rapier does damages 1d8.
Right. So roll a d8.
Okay, that I can do. 3.
Cool. You do 3 damage. He says, "Ow! What the hell?" Johnson, what are you doing? Get these guys.
Oh, yes, sir. I will certainly attack as soon as it's my turn, sir.
Sarah Leia.
Oh, okay. Gosh. Well, I could attack him, or I could try to cast Hideous Laughter on him. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean...
Or since we're already fighting him and our cover's been broken, I don't know if it would help us, but I can make a light spell. I guess that's probably not going to help us.
Well, I'm just thinking, so do we want to kill this guy or not?
Well, I don't want to kill him, but I don't... Because I never want to kill anything, but I don't want him to kill us, and I don't want to die, and I don't want anyone else to die, and I don't want to be seriously hurt, so I will defend myself.
What's it going to be?
Let me remind myself how this Hideous Laughter... They just have to pass a wisdom check?
They do. A wisdom save versus your spell DC.
How do I know what that is again?
It's 8 plus your proficiency bonus, which is 2 for a bard, plus your charisma modifier.
Alright, well, my charisma
So
modifier...
10 plus whatever your charisma modifier is.
Can I cast Bardic Inspiration to help her hideous
If it were
laughing?
your turn, you could.
Ah, well.
Okay, I'm looking for my charisma modifier. It's +4. So that seems okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna cast Hideous Laughter again.
Okay.
Worked so well before.
He fails his saving throw.
Yes. All right. So what's the joke this time?
Something about short.
Yeah, it looks
short
like
things.
your attack stopped short.
Little short on power there, buddy. Something like that.
Looks like you're short on time.
So he collapses in laughter. He's gonna do that for
A minute.
So we can. Do we want to knock him out or tie him up or?
Well, you don't get to do anything because
Oh,
that was your turn.
yeah.
And now it's Hansi's turn.
Oh,
But if you would all please make a perception check.
14 plus some amount of perception.
Ooh.
16 for me.
Yeah, I rolled a 2, and my perception check is my perception modifier is +4. So.
Hag, what's it going to be?
Yeah, I rolled a 19. My perception is +2.
Okay, so Hag and Hansi both notice in the heat of battle a strange thumping, crunching noise that seems to be getting louder coming
It's those
from
trees again.
the forest.
What trees are you?
We got
talking about?
attacked by an animated tree back there.
It sounds big.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. I almost died.
Oh yeah, notice the blood.
Yes.
The blood. Oh,
Hansi, it's your turn.
it's my turn. Well, we have he's prone with laughter, so I feel like I can probably disarm him at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So I take his weapons away.
Okay, you can try to do that.
Okay.
What's your spell DC?
My spell DC is 12.
Okay, you succeed in disarming him.
Great.
He's still writhing around on the ground.
Okay. So I think we should try to get run from this thing that's coming, and maybe try to take him with us. Can we do that?
You could try to bind him. Do you have some rope?
Do I have rope? Inventory. I have rations. I have a lute. I have leather, dulcimer. I have a dulcimer. I have a bedroll. No, I do not have rope. Let's see. I could stab him in the heart.
Well, we could. I think we should talk to these trees because maybe the trees are the ones that are doing all this damage, or some spirit associated
You
with
think
them.
we should talk to the trees? Well, I only have like another probably 30 seconds of this guy laughing on the ground, so I'm gonna hit him with my bare fist.
Okay. You're gonna try and knock him out.
Yeah.
Make an attack roll.
It looks like I'm not sure what that is actually. Is that a 20? Is that not settled?
That's a jack die. Just make it another. Do another.
Oh, that's a 2.
It's not so good.
Not
But
so
remember, you have a point of inspiration. You could.
Oh, I'm gonna use my point of inspiration. Did forget about that. It's an 18.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You knock him unconscious.
Great.
Just then, a giant tree crashes through the undergrowth. It looks very angry. It looks directly at you. It's seen you before.
Hello, Mr. Tree.
Take off your disguise. It thinks that you're killing it.
Let's see. How do I take off my disguise?
It starts trundling towards you. It raises a large tree-like fist.
I remove my disguise.
It pauses for a moment, and it says something in Dwarvish.
Does anybody speak Dwarvish?
No.
Oh.
Do you? Tag? No.
No.
Where do I see what languages I speak? I
Um,
probably don't speak language.
I think it's like in your character description.
Okay, description, background.
I think that's where it is.
Character detail. Language is common and primordial. Oh, that is not Dwarvish.
Well, maybe it'll speak primordial. It seems like a tree could speak primordial.
I take out my dulcimer and I begin playing.
okay, make a performance check.
It's an 8. I have a +4 on performance, and I'm going to roll my bardic inspiration for 3. So that's 11 plus 4, 15.
Okay. Sing a song.
I love the forest. The forest is my mother.
It's his mother.
I love the trees and the moss and the sunshine coming through the spider webs. And I love the trees. I feel the breeze blowing through the branches. 'Cause I remember my past life when I was a tree. I feel my roots so grounded, drinking the streams, and how I remember being a tree.
Okay. All right. It doesn't speak the language that you're singing in, but something about the honest and heartfelt nature of that performance has convinced the tree that, in truth, you mean no harm, and that belief is reinforced by the fact that there's this unconscious gnome sitting at your feet with a head wound, who's bleeding. And the tree looks, as much as a tree can look, at you. And then sort of gestures at this glade. And then it kind of walks through the palisade of trees lined up here. And then sort of takes root up towards the front. And it sort of faces itself towards this very large ancient tree. And the sun is beginning to set.
I think that was some That's some crazy shit, guys.
Pretty crazy. Thanks. Your song saved us.
Thank you for
And
the backup
Hag-
vocals
Hag saved us. Also.
and the inspiration.
So yeah, we should probably leave, but
Make like a tree and
yeah, and wait and get the fuck out.
get the fuck out of here. I think we need someone that knows Dwarvish. It sounds like that tree was
so
speaking
the
Dwarvish.
axe is not around anywhere, right? Like we determined that it's like back with that guy.
Yeah, it's probably back with that guy.
We should probably get that and also go to the dwarf in the inn and talk to him because I think that they're all connected.
Well, we have the map now,
Yeah.
so maybe the dwarf can come in here and speak to this tree and see what's going on.
Yeah, and maybe now we know that some weird stuff has been happening. Probably that I think that what's his name? Gremlin? No, Graven? Gremlin?
Gelbin?
Gelbin. I'm calling him Gremlin. Gelbin probably knew he wasn't supposed to be cutting on these trees. Like I feel like he knows that there's something kind of wrong about this.
Well, I feel like he's just he's very focused on his bottom line.
Yeah.
And he this
He's a real capitalist, that one.
This definitely feels pretty sacred in this grove, but he just ignored that.
Yeah.
Because he saw a quick buck to be made.
Yeah. Well, so we take him back with us? I don't want to... Well, I mean, we could just leave him to the trees, I guess. That would be fair, but...
It would be fair. But we're better than that. He can
We're
learn.
better than fair. We're awesome.
He can learn. I don't know. I'm chaotic neutral, so...
This is the most heartwarming game of D&D I've ever played.
I say we dress him up like a scarecrow. And that would be fun.
I say we take him back and let he can answer to the druid dwarf.
Okay, but I'm not carrying him.
Mine, I'll carry him, whatever.
So the muscle-bound lizard folk
Yes.
takes up this diminutive gnome.
I sling him over my
slings him
shoulder.
over her shoulder, and the three of you proceed back out through the forest, carefully following the map that you've retrieved from this gnome, and you wind your way all the way back up to Frank Lorne's lumberyard, and Frank Lorne sees you coming as he's closing up his shop for the evening, and he's like, "Hey, what do you got there?"
We got Gelbin with us, Frank Lorne.
I see.
Can we get the axe from his place?
Yeah, we want to stop by his place first.
Sure, you can do that.
And what was his name? The assistant?
Johnson.
Is Johnson still unconscious?
He's still unconscious.
Okay.
So I guess do we find the axe on him? Or?
We loot his body.
He has the axe.
We grab the axe.
Okay.
Okay, we have it now.
Okay.
It's in our inventory.
So now we go to Frank Lorne's place.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we
A
got.
little side note back in time there.
Yeah. Yeah, we have
It's a flashback, really.
we have a Gelbin with us, Frank Lorne.
Is that so?
Yes, he's been cutting down trees in a sacred dwarven glen with this dwarven axe.
Well, I dare say the druid is not going to like that very much.
No.
That's why we're going to take him to the druid and figure out if he can help us figure out what to do with him. Or
Seems reasonable. Did you figure out if he was the one setting fire to my barn?
We haven't, but we did figure out that his cows were getting killed by. He thought it was you, but we think it was probably the tree protectors coming in, caving in the heads of his cows.
have you been milling the wood that he's been bringing you?
He hasn't given me any wood for sure, at least not for the last few months. But I'll tell you what, I have some pretty good confidence that you've solved a mystery here, and if you've got Gelbin with you, chances are my barn's not going to be alight anytime soon. I finished the repairs, so I'm going to give you these bar stools. I was going to ship them out with the next set next week, but you've done the job I've asked for, so here you go. Give them to Vuthak with my regards.
We'll do that.
Will do.
Thank you.
Can we borrow a wagon to cart these bar stools up? Your normal wagon to cart these bar stools up to the city?
Certainly, as long as you bring it back.
All right, we'll do. Wintermoon. Here we go.
So you
Off we go to
continue.
Wintermoon,
The wind. It's now
victorious.
nighttime, and the wind is coming in, and it's quite cold outside. You make your way back into the Wintermoon Inn, and the door swings open, and it's you, and you, and you.
I just. No.
Oh, and Vuthak says, well, if it isn't, whatever your name was, Lutz something.
We're the Saved by the Loot.
Great.
At least for now.
Yeah, for
That's
now.
what we're calling ourselves for now.
What you got there?
We have a goblin.
But more importantly, we got a truckload of bar stools outside. Where do you want them?
Well, when you folk came in here and you couldn't really hold your liquor and your songs weren't that good and you looked kind of funny, I was a little bit suspicious, but you made good on your word. I appreciate
None of us
that.
look funny.
I appreciate that. So,
How about another shot to cement our partnership?
Oh, none for me.
he laughs. He laughs. He has a grand old time, and he pours a glass, and he slaps down a satchel of coins with 30 gold on the inside.
Yeah.
He slaps you on the back and says, "Cheers!" and he knocks it back.
Well, I'm going to up my currency by 10. I'm feeling a little rich now. And I knock back a shot.
Constitution save.
I hope you knock yourself out.
11.
Plus.
0.
You fall over. And he laughs hysterically.
We're laughing too. Ha ha. Or at least I am. You can laugh.
The druid in the corner is eyeing you suspiciously.
So I'll just carry over. Is Goblin awake yet, or is he just sort of bound up?
He's gagged and tied.
Okay.
He is awake.
Hello, sir. We have some news for you, and maybe you can help us figure out what to do, Mr. Dwarven Druid, sir.
He says, "I think I've seen. What voice did I have for him before? I think I've seen this fellow before."
This is Goblin Grey. He's been cutting down trees in some sort of sacred, hidden dwarven glen that, with this axe and this map that apparently let him do that, I think, because we kept getting attacked by trees when we came in.
Yeah. Can you the trees? They were speaking dwarvish. It seemed. I'm sorry. I get accents when I get drunk.
Can you turn into Shanghai?
Do you know anything about those trees?
He strokes his beard and he says, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Tell you what, I'll make you a trade." And he reaches into his satchel that he's got, and he pulls out this kind of glimmering green sigil. And he says, "This is the sigil of my house. You'll need another couple of these before they'll let you into Glimmerdelve in the Winter Festival, but for what you've done today, I think it's worth it. But you gotta give me that gnome in return."
Fine by me, guys.
Yeah, you can take the axe.
I don't need the gnome. No, don't take the axe. Keep the axe. Come
No,
on.
but the axe is
It's a mithril. It's a mithril axe.
But it's hurting the...
Don't listen
Or
to
do
my
you want- do you
friends
want the
here.
axe?
You can take the gnome.
Do you want the... I don't know, there was a crap
It's
about
my
the
axe. You
forest.
can't give away the axe.
He says,
Do you know anything about this axe?
"I do know about this axe. Only an axe of true mithril can harm one of these ironwood trees. I can leave you the axe, but if ever I find out that one of these trees has been cut down, I'll be back, and you won't want to see me."
Yes, sir. We certainly won't harm the trees.
We don't want to harm the trees.
No, never will.
The Goblin cut down several of them, and one of them seemed pretty unhappy about that as it came towards us. But then Hansi sung a lovely song, and it knew we meant it no harm.
says, "Well, I appreciate what you've done for these trees are my friends, and I know if they could, they'd express their appreciation. As for me, I've got some business with this would-be lumberjack. So if you'll hand them over to me, we'll be on our way."
What was the name of your house there?
It's the Grove Right House.
The Grove Right. Okay.
Grove right or
Grove Right.
Grove Right. Just keeping everything straight in the old book here.
He says, "You're a pirate too, are you?"
When I drink, the accents come out.
talks like me sometimes.
Would you drink with me, Mr. Grove Right, before you go?
He says, "One for the road wouldn't hurt."
All right.
And he pulls out a sort of a wineskin, and he two little sort of wooden cups, and he pours one in, pours some sort of green liquid into one, and pours some green liquid into the other, and he says, "Best of luck to you. I hope your shows in Glimmerdelve are as wondrous as your performances here in this tavern."
Here, here.
Here, here.
Knocks it back. You feel rejuvenated.
Wonder. Oh, wow. So refreshing.
And he grabs Gelbin by the scruff of the neck and sort of drags him out through the door as he departs. And Vuthak says, "Well, you've had a pretty busy day, but I do believe you owe the folks of this pub a little bit of a rendition. You know, gotta pay up your dues. One last song for the evening."
All right, can't argue with that.
And now he expects a round from each of you, so you each have to do a verse.
Okay. Maybe I'll try to jump to it.
So starting with Hag, and then we'll actually roll initiative.
I have a 6.
10.
4, and then I'm sorry. What do we determine?
A 10, a 6, and a what?
I rolled a 4, but then we don't. Do we have a?
I have a plus.
modifier?
Yeah, a +1.
Oh, I have a -1.
Okay, so Hag, Hansi, and then Sarah Leia is the order. So Hag, you got the first verse. You're gonna sing 4 lines about the adventure that you had today to the gathered masses in the pub. You ready?
I'll try my best.
Okay, here we go.
Somebody once told me the world was gonna roll me. I ate the sharpest tool in the shed.
The shed was burned down.
And now it's your turn.
And so we went looking for the culprits of the shed burned down, and we found a bunch of dead cows instead.
Bunch of dead cows. Bunch of dead cows.
Your turn.
So we knocked Johnson on the head, and we put on his clothes, and we followed with Gemblin down the road, and then we got attacked by some trees, but we saved ourselves, and then we found out that he was cutting out sacred trees.
And that was no good, no good, no.
And then our voices, well, specifically Hansi's voice, saved us from getting attacked by another tree.
And I sang the greatest song there's ever been, but it wasn't this song.
But the real
It wasn't this song. This is just a tribute to that song.
But the real lesson of this evening is that we inspired each other with our voices and our songs and our bardic inspiration. It was really, really beautiful.
And we learned to live in harmony with the earth.
The trees,
In
especially
the
the trees, because they got really mean when they were pissed off.
Yeah, you don't want to piss off a tree.
Don't want to piss off a tree.
Don't want to piss off a tree, but you can piss
Can't
on
on
them.
a tree.
You can piss on them.
Just don't piss off them.
No.
Don't do that. And that's and the crowd applauds, and they loved it, and the tip jar overflows with 10 gold.
10 gold. Well, how are we going to split this up, guys? It doesn't split even.
Well, I was the most injured.
I do
during
think
the
you
adventure.
could use an extra gold for your troubles.
Yeah.
Maybe get that head wound looked at.
It's mostly better, but maybe after I rest, it'll be fine.
Yeah, that normally fixes it up for me. Like I just, I'm feeling kind of rough, and I take a little rest, and it's all better.
And so ends another wonderful Dungeons and Dragons story in the Wintermoon Inn. Thank you all so much for joining us. Until next time.
Well, I want to keep going. I want to figure out the other stuff. Is there other stuff?
Then you'll have to come back and do this again.
Oh, thank you,
yay.
Tom. Thank you, Voice in the Sky, for describing our world.
My pleasure.
Yay!
Yay! Now I'm going to turn the stream on. But
Peace, fans.
We're going to leave Sarah up so that we can debrief. Goodbye, Twitch.
Oh, man.